Chapter 2-1 Fire Dance. Being led. Shimo sneered. Just tell me, can you break through my defense? He and Huoyu were locked in a stalemate. Huoyu was an agility attack type spirit master. His speed and evasiveness far outmatched Shimo, but his strikes lacked the power of a pure attacker and couldn't lay a serious scratch on Shimo. Conversely, Shimo's defenses and spirit ability kept Huoyu from slipping past him to reach Ningrongrong and the others. Neither could gain the upper hand. For a long beat, they faced one another in frozen balance. Huoyu flared with fury, but there was nothing he could do. He had looked for reinforcements in other directions and found none. Two opponents still stood behind him, doing nothing. Even if he tried to rush past Shimo, the spirit ability would trap him. All he could do was take fewer hits and stall for time. At that moment, Mengyiran's two giant snakes, having already blocked an attack, surged forward instead of holding position. They moved toward Huo Li and Huoyu with renewed speed. No, they're coming at us! I was just watching the show. Huoyu's face drained of color. He tried to dodge, but the venomous snakes had already locked onto him. A hiss, and the snakes spat a cloud of poisonous mist. Huoyu inhaled it before he could react. Numbness flooded his limbs, his spirit power ebbed like the tide, and he collapsed to the ground. What the hell? He gasped. His spirit power, gone so easily. On the other side, Huo Li charged, teeth gritted, and swung at the physical snake, but the tail lashed out like a steel whip. He raised both arms to block, and still was sent flying several meters, crashing hard and coughing up blood. The snake coiled, bound the two with its tail, and hurled them out of the arena. The match is over. Mengyiran sheathed her 10,000 snake scepter, and the two giant snakes dissolved into energy. She glanced coldly at the fallen opponents and then turned and left. Big Sister is amazing. Shimo followed her without hesitation. He had discovered the delicious satisfaction of winning without throwing a punch. He liked a victory that required no effort. Huo Wushuang watched three teammates defeated in an instant, his face ashen. Brother, we're no match. Let me use the final move, he said. You can use it, but I can't protect you if they counter, his teammate warned. Huo Wushuang shook his head. Huo Wu, jaw clenched and eyes bright with stubbornness, stepped forward. Xiao Ze, I still have one last move. If you dare, go ahead and take it. Xiao Ze blinked. You want me not to attack, so you can use your last move? Exactly. Do I look like a fool to you? He muttered. Huo Wu's face flushed with fury, but she didn't back down. Through the spiritual link with her elves, she issued the command. Qinglove, imprison them. Qinglove hovered into the air. A vast phantom of a law book descended above Huo Wushuang and Huo Wu. As it turned, an invisible legal force wrapped around the two siblings. Their bodies stiffened as though bound by unseen chains, their feet rooted to the ground, unable to move. What? Huo Wu cried, frantically pouring spirit power into an escape, but it had no effect. Huo Wushuang tried to force himself free as well, but the confinement held. Chikai, finish them. Chikai planted his weapons and launched himself like a cannonball, flames of earth fire blazing along his path. He slammed into the two trapped spirit masters and swung his heavy sword with unstoppable force. The blow struck true. Huo Wushuang and Huo Wu flew backward like broken kites and crashed out of the arena. With that, Blazing Academy's fighting force was smashed. The two remaining support spirit masters, Huo Chui and Huo Jun, stood pale and hollow-eyed. They exchanged a look and saw the same defeat mirrored in each other's faces. We surrender, Huo Chui croaked, raising a trembling hand. Silence held for a heartbeat, then the stadium erupted into deafening cheers. Heaven Do Royal Academy wins! Xiao Ze retracted his elves with calm composure. Let's go. That was surprisingly simple, he said as he and his group left the arena. Before they could go far, Huo Wu planted herself in their path, stubbornness flaring in her eyes. Do you want anything else? Xiao Ze asked. I challenge you to a duel, Huo Wu said. Xiao Ze froze, then movement stole across his face, half curiosity, half amusement. He reached out on impulse and placed a hand on Huo Wu's forehead. Are you all right up there? You and your brother couldn't beat me together, and you still want to duel? Feeling his palm, Huo Wu went still. Her cheeks darkened in an instant. Like a startled rabbit, she slapped his hand away and sputtered, voice high and flustered. You? What are you doing? Xiao Ze couldn't help but smile at the sight of the girl suddenly at a loss for words. When she wasn't raging, Huo Wu could be oddly charming, her ear tips flushed, a faint down of hair visible, her pout far more endearing than her earlier ferocity. I still have a trump card I haven't used, she huffed, stamping her foot and letting her skirt flutter. Xiao Ze's expression softened, and he patted her shoulder. The arena is a battlefield. If you lose, you lose. Instead of plotting revenge, why don't you calm down and recover first? Hu clenched her fists, itching to hit him, but when she looked up, he had already turned and walked away. She hesitated then, as if compelled by some strange impulse, followed him. It's over. Huo Wushuang pressed his hand to his forehead, the weight of the moment hitting him. As an older brother, he knew exactly what it meant to have his sister swayed so easily. Feng Xiaotian had been watching Huo Wu as well. The scene, her chiding and laughing with Xiao Ze, stuck in his mind and made his chest tighten. Something inside him felt as though it were slipping away. He wanted to go after her, but he had a match coming up and couldn't leave. Ning Rongrong, walking at the front of the team, glanced back and whispered to Jujuking, Juking, do you think Huo Wu's already been taken with Xiao Ze? Juking's face remained expressionless. Probably. She looks naive, easy to lead with a few words. She's even following him now. Ning Rongrong sighed. I thought I was helping by finding women for Xiao Ze, but seeing it actually happen, it feels different. Behind them, Huo Wu followed Xiao Ze, not fully realizing that her fierce glare toward his retreating back had already softened and blended with something else, something she couldn't name. Meng Shenji found it amusing to watch Huo Wu trailing after Xiao Ze. It was entertaining to see the eldest daughter of Blazing Academy so easily captivated by him. He wasn't particularly interested in Xiao Ze's private life, but he admired him. How all his women lived together and got along like sisters was impressive. Xiao Ze fought beautifully in that match, Ji Lin said with a smile. Don't worry, Deans. This exchange match is nothing for us, Ning Rongrong said, smiling as she looped her arm through Xiao Ze's. The exchange match is just to let you experience the Soul Master competition. At the official contest, the whole place will be packed with people, which can throw you off. Our Heaven Due first team goes straight to the finals. There are fewer people there, so it won't matter as much. Okay. After a brief exchange, they took their front row seats. Huo Wu looked surprised to find the two Heaven Dou groups seated so far apart. She gritted her teeth and sat directly behind Xiao Ze. He couldn't help a small smile. She had come to him without any prompting. Ning Rongrong and the others tried to suppress their laughter. Ning Rongrong, sly as a cat, leaned half her body onto Xiao Ze's shoulder. Her lips brushed near his earlobe, and her warm breath carried a delicate, girlish sweetness as she purred in a coquettish voice. Xiao Ze jege. That soft, teasing tone made Xiao Ze freeze. He felt the light pressure of her chest against his arm and the faint jasmine scent in her hair. It wasn't large, but it felt just right. Don't do that. It's weird, he whispered. Xiao Ze ge. Huo Wu seems to have taken a liking to you. She even followed you over, Ning Rongrong teased. Xiao Ze shook his head. Who knows what she's thinking? Soon the match between Thunder Academy and Tianshui Academy began. 7 members of Tianshui Academy appeared, all in matching sky blue short-skirt uniforms. Their slim, graceful legs moved in perfect step, 7 elegant swans gliding onto the stage. Shui Binger led the line, holding her sister Shui Yuer's hand. They had similar delicate faces, but gave off very different temperaments. Hey, your eyeballs are gonna pop out. Ning Rongrong poked her head out from the side, puffing out her cheeks, and nudged Xiao Ze's waist with an elbow. Xiao Ze cleared his throat. I'm observing the opponent's strength. There was no denying the Tianshui girls had excellent looks. Du Guyan had already leaned in without him noticing, her tall body nearly pressing against his right side. Her slender fingers traced ambiguous circles on his chest, and her purple lips brushed his earlobe almost imperceptibly. Her breath carried a faint sweetness, and the tiny electric shocks of her fingertips made Xiao Ze tense. Oh, want all 7 of them? Du Guyan murmured. We can have the outfits made, 1 set for each of you, Ning Rongrong said with a grin. Xiao Ze's eyes lit up. Ahem, you said it. It has nothing to do with me. But yes, a matched series would be nice. Like any man, Xiao Ze had his private thoughts. He remembered once wanting a foot massage but being too shy. This time he decided he would experience what it was like to have 5 people wash his feet. Ning Rongrong covered her mouth and smiled slyly. I didn't realize you were like this, Xiao Ze. Leave it to me. I'll design several sets. They'll all look good. She had already decided she would go measure her sister's figures later. As his main wife, she felt it was her duty to find him women and to indulge his little whims. Behind them, Huo Wu stared at Xiao Ze, who sat sandwiched between 2 beautiful girls in the center of the arena. She was breathing hard. You rascally philanderer, she ground out through clenched teeth. Seeing Xiao Ze with Ning Rongrong and Du Guyan so casually intimate made her head throb. She couldn't understand why so many excellent girls were drawn to him. Her irritation turned to shock when Shui Yuer winked at Xiao Ze after Tian Shui's performance, and even the usually cold Shui Binger's gaze never left him. Why me? Huo Wu frantically ruffled her long red hair. Her face was flushed. Her hair, wild from the motion, looked like a ruffled cat's mane. Xiao Ze caught sight of her expression and couldn't help laughing. The fierce competitor from the stage now looked like a sulking child, pouting under her breath. What are you laughing at? Huo Wu snapped, catching his laughter. She sprang up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on and stalked over in a few swift steps. Do you believe I'll burn you right now, you philanderer? To most it might have seemed like she was making a fuss, but Xiao Ze found it endearing. He deliberately softened his voice, speaking like one would to a child. All right, I believe you. But he pointed at a stubborn cowlick that had sprung up on her head from her flustered movements. Your hair's sticking up. Huo Wu automatically reached for the top of her head. The unruly lock refused to lie flat, making her cheeks burn even redder. Half in embarrassment, half in anger, she launched herself at him with a sudden headbutt. Xiao Ze reacted instinctively and wrapped his arms around her. Ning Rongrong and the others watched delightedly. Being so close to the gossip was entertaining. Huo Wu froze in Xiao Ze's embrace. She could feel the warmth of his chest and the clean scent of his skin. His strong arms circled her waist, bringing them so close she could count his eyelashes. You, Xiao Ze began, then felt the girl in his arms tremble hard. Her face was already the color of an overripe apple, and if one were cartoonish enough to show steam, it would have been rising off her head. She stammered, Let go of me. Who told you to hug me? Xiao Ze stared, taken aback. This fierce, capable Huo Wu had suddenly turned into a shy little girl. Huo Wu's sudden change surprised Xiao Ze. Outwardly, she could be all fire and bravado, but beneath that blaze was still a shy, awkward girl. The contrast was strangely appealing. Even as she spoke, her body seemed frozen, showing no will to fight free. Her usually bright eyes were glossy now, like a startled fawn's. Ning Rongrong, unable to stand it, reached out and gave Huo Wu's pert little bottom a pat. Oh! Huo Wu leapt as if shocked, scrambling out of Xiao Ze's arms. She pressed a hand to the attacked spot and spun on Ning Rongrong with a mixture of embarrassment and anger. What are you doing? Ning Rongrong placed her hands on her hips. If you two want to hug, don't do it in public. She winked. Look at how flustered our little sister Huo Wu is. Only then did Huo Wu notice how many eyes were on them. She glanced around in a panic. Several teammates had their mouths open, and a few teachers were wearing amused smiles. A small whimper escaped her. She curled up into herself, covering her face and squatting on the ground. She wished she could disappear. Her ears were so red they seemed to burn. Xiao Ze found her more interesting than ever. Fierce outwardly, cute and bashful inside, Huo Wu had a disarming charm. He was about to ask why she'd been angry earlier when he realized she was peeking at him through her fingers. The instant their eyes met, she buried her face deeper, leaving only a tuft of red hair trembling with each breath. Ning Rongrong squatted beside her and poked Huo Wu's flushed cheek. This shyness doesn't suit the young miss of our blazing academy. Weren't you fierce on stage just now? Didn't you want a one-on-one with Xiao Ze? No, none of your business, Huo Wu's voice muffled from under her arms. Meng Yuran had drifted over too, curious, and squatted on the other side. Huo Wu lifted her head and found herself encircled by a few girls. She went even redder. You all. Xiao Ze laughed softly. Huo Wu shot him a mortified glare, but it was more pout than threat. All right, stop teasing her. Ye Lingling said finally, stepping in to smooth things over. Still, Ning Rongrong and the others shepherded Huo Wu to the back row. Xiao Ze perked his ears, trying to catch what they were whispering, when a different gaze snagged him. Across the way stood a tall, lean young man in a green uniform, Feng Xiaoqian. He watched as if he'd been struck. There was no doubt this was the devoted Feng Xiaoqian. Feng Xiaoqian's hands dug into the railing, his knuckles blanched. He stared at the sight of Huo Wu, whom he'd chased since childhood, sitting in Xiao Ze's arms like a tame kitten. "This can't be," he muttered, voice trembling. He rubbed his nose and felt absurdly clownish. Memories flooded him. Breakfasts he'd brought that she tossed to teammates, a birthday present slid into her locker with hardly a glance. She'd never properly given him a chance. "So what have I been doing all these years?" he groaned, clutching his hair. The irony stung. The way Huo Wu now seemed to be pursuing Xiao Ze was exactly how he'd pursued her. "Captain, are you all right?" a teammate asked quietly from behind. "I'm fine." Feng Xiaoqian spun around too quickly and startled the boy. He plastered on a smile that looked worse than crying. His teammates felt sorry for him, but they also remembered how persistent he'd always been. Huo Wu had treated him like a close friend since childhood. She'd never said she liked him, and he'd misread things. They couldn't say the obvious, tell him to give up, but watching him fail so publicly was painful. At the same time, they thought, someone admired by so many outstanding girls had to be special. Xiao Ze was strong and handsome. Maybe there was nothing Feng Xiaoqian could do. Worry for Feng Xiaoqian wasn't the only concern in the arena. The match between Tianshui Academy and Thunder Academy was nearing its end, and Tianshui had the upper hand. Under their pressure, Thunder Academy's counters were faltering. Yu Tianheng and Yu Tianxin, Thunder's only spirit ancestors, couldn't break the stalemate even with the amplification of the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda. Shui Binger's precise control was a constant thorn, and Xuewu's widespread debuffs made coordination miserable. Dai Mubai had been effectively restrained. Even if he wasn't completely overwhelmed, keeping him in check was enough. Tang San, lacking ice fire refinement, had no ice resistance, so his control techniques couldn't reach full potency. Thunder Academy showed a clear weakness. Almost everyone was focused on offense. Only Tang San and Ning Yuyu were exceptions, and Tang San's handicap made him nearly useless, while Ning Yuyo hadn't mastered heart separation control, so her support was limited and short-lived. The 4 blue lightning tyrant dragons were heavily constrained. Tianshui avoided direct confrontation and simply harried them, keeping them on the move. Everyone with eyes could see Thunder Academy was slipping toward defeat. Huo Wushuang sighed and walked over to Feng Xiaoqian. "Don't make that face," she said bluntly. "It's ugly to look at. The Feng Xiaoqian I know isn't like this." "Wushuang, do you think I look ridiculous now?" he sniffed. "Yes, pretty ridiculous." Her voice was frank. Feng Xiaoqian's shoulders sank, but she wasn't done. "Not shameful," she added. "You were honest and open in chasing my sister. If she doesn't return your feelings, that's her choice. You did what you could. Sometimes it just means it wasn't meant to be. Feng Xiaoqian, pull yourself together. Your life isn't only about my sister. You have your own life to live." Chapter 204, Roaring Sky Dog Among the Licking Dogs. "You're right, Brother Wushuang." Feng Xiaoqian snapped back to himself and lifted his head. "I still have my own life. I have to get stronger." Huo Wushuang nodded, satisfied. Huo Wu was his younger sister, and Feng Xiaoqian considered himself her sworn brother. Being caught between them was awkward. Besides, Huo Wu and Xiao Ze weren't a couple right now. "Once I get stronger, I'll just win her back." Feng Xiaoqian's eyes gleamed with renewed purpose. Huo Wushuang stared as if he'd been struck by lightning. I'm such an idiot," he muttered, mouth quirking and veins standing out on his forehead. "I said so much, and you didn't hear a word of it, did you?" Feng Xiaoqian ignored him, lost in his own fantasy, hands clasped to his chest. "As long as Huo Wu is happy, I'm willing to be the man behind her forever. Even if she marries Xiao Ze, I'll still bring her breakfast every day. I will go to hell." Huo Wushuang swore, enunciating each word, tugging at his red hair as if his brain might boil. "This isn't just being love-struck anymore. This is the howling celestial dog of simps." Members of Blazing Academy were already rolling with laughter in the distance. the Shenfeng Academy students covered their faces in embarrassment. Their captain, what was going on inside his head? Well, he was clearly doomed to be a simp for life. Feng Xiaoqian's self-forgetful state deepened. He began to spin in place. Maybe I should change my name to Feng Xiaoze. Then, whenever Huo Wu calls Xiao Ze, she'll think of me too. Ugh. Huo Wuxuang gagged and staggered back several steps, a finger trembling as he pointed. Don't come any closer. I warn you, if my sister knew about your perverted thoughts, she'd burn you to ashes. Huo Wuxuang felt like Feng Xiaotian had been reduced to nonsense. His head truly wasn't working right. While Feng Xiaotian babbled, Tianshui Academy had already finished off Thunder Academy. That match was pretty even and had been much more exciting than the first. Soon after, Shenfeng Academy faced Elephant Armor Academy on the arena. The Feng Xiaotian on display now seemed like a different person. If his earlier behavior had been pure simping, now he was a simping warrior. Though his gaze still wandered toward Huo Wu at times, his fighting aura was fierce. Shenfeng breathed a collective sigh of relief. No matter how foolish their captain looked, as long as his combat power didn't drop, his personal life was nobody's business. Huo Wu had calmed down after her teasing and sat beside Ning Rongrong, close to Xiao Ze. She took a deep breath. A gentle breeze brushed past and brought a faint, elusive scent with it. She knew that smell. Xiao Ze's. She'd noticed it before. He hadn't been pushed to exhaustion in the fight, so there was no sweat or stench, only an intoxicating, undefinable aroma she strangely liked. Huo Wu inhaled again without thinking. Her face flushed crimson as she realized what she'd done. She hurriedly covered her nose, but, like someone chasing a guilty pleasure, kept following the lingering scent in the air. I'm such a pervert, she muttered, fingers twining a stray lock of hair. He's clearly a womanizer, so why do I feel I like him? Is this liking? The scent also stirred a memory, her mother's arms, the security of childhood. It made her heart race in a curious way. Xiao Ze seemed to sense something and turned. The moment their eyes met, the scent grew astonishingly clear, engulfing her. She turned away instantly, face so red it seemed it might bleed. Xiao Ze looked puzzled. Why was Huo Wu acting like this? He changed the subject. Huo Wu, Feng Xiaotian seems to like you a lot. He's been staring. That may be, but I don't like him, Huo Wu replied quickly, as if to prevent any misunderstanding. We're too familiar. We grew up together. There's no romantic feeling. Childhood sweethearts can be nice, you know, Xiao Ze said. Most childhood sweethearts don't actually end up together. Their relationship is different from a couple's. Feng Xiaoqian annoys me sometimes. It's impossible, Huo Wu said with calm certainty. Ning Rongrong and Du Guyan exchanged amused looks. Xiao Ze asking about childhood sweethearts meant he might be thinking about making a move. Having a stubborn, contrasting woman like Huo Wu at home could be entertaining and powerful too. Huo Wu's talent was impressive. At her age, she already had spirit ancestor strength. With time, she might become a titled Douluo, find a divinity inheritance, and even ascend. The possibilities were tempting. On the arena, Feng Xiaotan suddenly erupted. He overwhelmed the Elephant Armor Academy members with a display of speed and precision. Elephant Armor, as a team, was at a disadvantage against quick, mobile Shenfeng fighters. Although many of Elephant Armor's spirit abilities had suppression effects that could lock down opponents, their overall strength was lacking. Even their best, Huiyan Li, wasn't a spirit ancestor. Defeating Shenfeng looked almost impossible. Feng Xiaoqian, though, bulldozed through them with a single, devastating combo. Captain is amazing. Yeah, Captain, you're different today. Unbelievable. Huo Wuxuang stood there dumbfounded, staring at the spectacle. Is this getting stronger by simping to the extreme? He asked, mouth twitching. He felt like he was seeing Feng Xiaoqian anew. Could becoming the howling celestial dog of simps actually boost one's combat power? He watched Feng Xiaoqian explode with strength after seeing Huo Wu with another man. What kind of operation was this? If every time his sister and Xiao Ze kissed in front of him, it sent Feng Xiaoqian into overdrive, couldn't Feng Xiaoqian single-handedly take down entire teams in future battles? Huo Wuxuang's remaining brain cells felt eaten away by the absurdity of it all. He was half enraged, half amazed. Shenfeng Academy, get your pervert back. This was a level of masochism and power that defied reason. Chapter 205, he obviously knew me first. The first day of the exchange competition ended. Heaven Do Royal Academy, Tianshui Academy, and Shenfeng Academy all won their matches. There had been plenty of excitement today, but for Huo Wushuang, the most thrilling moment had been Feng Xiaoqian's transformation into a howling celestial dog. When the Heaven Do Royal Academy team finished, Xiao Ze left the soul-fighting arena surrounded by his women, and Huo Wu dutifully followed. Shu Yuer grabbed Shui Binger's arm and began stomping her feet in excitement. "Sister, look, look, Huo was actually trotting after Xiao Ze." Her big eyes glittered with gossip. "There's definitely something going on. Let's go. Come on, let's join the fun." Shui Binger stumbled from the tugging, a hint of panic on her cool, pretty face. Wait a moment, sister. Isn't this too rude? Oh, what are you waiting for?" Shu Yuer was already dragging her. "If we wait any longer, we'll miss them. Besides, aren't we going to see Xiao Ze too? He's too handsome. I've never seen a man like him. So many women around him. He couldn't be lacking in anything." Pulled along, Shui Binger ran after them, curiosity warring with her sense of propriety. "Sister, this is too forward." "Forward about what?" Shu Yuer glanced back and winked. "We're just congratulating them on their victory." Shui Binger had no reply. She stole a look at Xiao Ze's back and felt her heart stutter. She liked handsome boys too, but she usually hid it behind an aloof facade so well that no one suspected. "You two, come back here," Shui Yao called from behind, exasperated. Her mature face showed helplessness. Shouldn't they be going to rest? They had another competition tomorrow, and here they were rushing off to fawn over other men. Shui Yao admitted Xiao Ze was handsome in a masculine way, but did they really have to throw themselves at him like this? He already had so many girlfriends. Too late. Shui Yuer, like a cheerful little bird, had already dragged her sister up to Xiao Ze's group. "Student Xiao Ze," she called sweetly, stretching out the last syllable. "Congratulations on your quick victory." Xiao Ze was startled by the sudden appearance, and Shu Yuer's saccharine voice sent a little shiver up his spine. Ning Rongrong, listening, suddenly felt a flash of déjà vu. She'd been this way herself. Huo Wu immediately stepped in front of Xiao Ze like a protective kitten. "What do you want?" Shu Yuer ignored Huo Wu and pushed her sister forward. Shui Binger, at a loss, stood before Xiao Ze, her usual distant, adorable demeanor replaced by a childlike look of embarrassment. She lowered her head and mumbled, Congratulations." Shui Yuer snickered and covertly nudged her sister. "Don't be shy." Shui Binger shot her an annoyed glare, but that glance met Xiao Ze's smiling eyes, and she instantly turned away as if she'd been shocked, her ears flaming crimson. Honestly, Xiao Ze's two sisters were entertaining. Shui Yuer was cute, lively, and bold. Shui Binger was reserved, gift-wrapped in an air of mature aloofness that came from shyness more than anything. Ning Rongrong watched, shaking her head. "Oh no, another one has fallen. Make that two." She had underestimated her man's charm. He didn't even have to do anything, and two girls were already making a move. Huo Wu bristled. "Stay away from him." "Huo Wu, this has nothing to do with you. If you want to give yourself away, I can too." Shui Yuer shot back. The two rivals faced off like two combative flame flowers, sparks practically crackling in the air. Xiao Ze thought, bringing these two home would be entertaining. Hearing them argue and maybe even fight would definitely make for good gossip. Shui Yuer reached and grabbed Xiao Ze's arm. Ning Rongrong and the others stepped back a few paces, paying more attention to the scene and to the sunflower seeds Xiao Ze had produced, handy as both snacks and hidden weapons. Xiao Ze was caught between amusement and embarrassment. Gossip was fun, but being the center of it wasn't so pleasant. Shui Binger watched her sister's bold move, her mouth slightly open in disbelief. In the distance, Shui Yao rubbed her forehead. What a disaster. A looks-obsessed flirt leading a shy, clueless one into trouble. As their aunt, Shui Yao knew the two well. Shui Yuer wore her nature on her sleeve. Shui Binger, deep down, was similar to Yuer, but her introversion had shaped her into someone who appeared composed and distant. Still, at heart, they were alike. The Tianshui Academy team members nearby had already pulled out snacks and were watching with relish. "Dean, should we start a betting pool on who'll win him over first?" someone suggested. "Don't say anything. She looks so good with her face all red," another murmured. "She does, but isn't it problematic for her to have so many boyfriends?" came a cautious voice. Don't think like that. Think differently. If he has so many girlfriends, he must be extraordinary. Duguyan and Ningrongrong aren't ordinary. Their families are powerful. If their families didn't approve, could they still be with Xiao Ze? That just means their families agreed, someone concluded, eyes lighting up. Duguyan's grandfather was the poisoned Douluo. If he tolerated his granddaughter being anyone's concubine, then Xiao Ze must be doing something right. What kind of charm or power did Xiao Ze have to make a titled Douluo agree? Take your paws off him. Huowu slapped away Shuyuer's arm around Xiao Ze, eyes blazing. She pressed herself closer protectively, like a lioness. Shuyuer refused to be outdone. A cunning glint flashed in her blue eyes as she cooed, sickeningly sweet. Oh, Sister Huowu is so fierce, you'll scare Brother Xiao Ze away. Xiao Ze froze. Student had become brother. But after hearing that voice so often, it actually sounded pleasant in a natural way, not affectedly high or nasal. Shuyuer clearly had a knack for voice acting. You. Huowu's anger flared so strongly it was almost comical. She grabbed Xiao Ze's other arm. He met me first. Chapter 206, Shui Binger, who wants to learn cooking. What's the point of knowing someone for a long time? Shuyuer blinked her big innocent eyes, tracing circles on Xiao Ze's arm with a finger. Love is all about fate. They tugged Xiao Ze from each side, and the poor man felt like a rope in a tug of war. The girls behind them just gossiped and watched, not lifting a finger to save him. You! Huowu was about to explode. Shuyuer was infuriating, and Huowu couldn't argue with her. Just as the two were about to come to blows, Xiao Ze finally pushed them gently apart. All right, don't fight. You're making this very difficult for me. Humph, Huowu turned away, indignant. Shuyuer, ever cunning, smiled sweetly. Brother Xiao Ze, it's still early. Want to go for a walk? Ugh, gross. Huowu scowled. She would never make a sound like that. Xiao Ze sighed. Today's competition was tiring, and there are several more days of matches. You should rest. If you want to come with me, come to my house. I'll cook for you. You can cook? Shuyuer's eyes practically sparkled. Strong, talented, handsome, and he could cook. What a catch. Xiao Ze's cooking is amazing, Ningrongrong added with a smile. In that case, we should go, Shui Binger said with a hopeful blink. She could cook too, but her attempts were usually mediocre, sometimes even sending her sister or aunt into fainting fits. Her competitive spirit flared. She wanted, at least once, to make a meal that was actually edible. Charge, the girls echoed, and they hurried off. On the way, Xiao Ze gently questioned Huowu about her earlier hostility. When he heard the answer, he was dumbfounded. She had been jealous. Her two longtime rivals had stopped paying attention to her and were now fawning over a man. It was simpler than he expected. Huowu was more naive than he'd thought. At the entrance to the Great Spirit Arena, Huowu Shuang and Shui Yao stood together, watching the bustling scene, and sighed in unison. Principal Shui, how did your two girls get mixed up in this? Huowu Shuang scratched his head and pointed at Shuyuer and Shui Binger by Xiao Ze. Shui Yao held her forehead and shook her head, her mature face showing helpless amusement. Don't ask, my eldest. She's a disciple of beauty. She's frozen when she sees someone good-looking. The younger one pretends to be aloof, but she's innocent and follows her sister everywhere. Deep down, she's the same, a look lover. What a sin. She glanced at Huowu Shuang. But your Huo, didn't she usually hate boys? How come? Huowu Shuang looked utterly bewildered. Who knows what she's taken lately? Today she's throwing herself at him more than anyone. The two exchanged a look and sighed like worried parents. This Xiao Ze isn't simple, Shui Yao continued, stroking her chin. To have such strength at a young age and to be so handsome, no wonder the girls can't control themselves. That's right. I don't know where he came from, but his power is extraordinary. His summoned beasts have diverse abilities. Each one feels like the strength of a spirit ancestor. He's definitely a formidable summoner. And the women around him aren't ordinary either. Ningrongrong is the eldest daughter of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Her family is respected. Ning Fengji must think highly of Xiao Ze, otherwise he wouldn't let his daughter get involved like this. Dugu Yan is another notable one. Her grandfather is a senior poison Douluo. Ye Lingling is from the Ye family and has a strong status, stronger than ours. I don't know Meng Yuran well, but her spirit looks like the Dragon Duke and Snake Matron type. Respectable. And Juju Qing is from the Star Luo Ju family. As leaders of first-rate powers on the Douluo Continent, Shui Yao and Huo Wushuang had a clearer grasp of the political and social landscape. So he must have something special. Let them mix with him. There's no harm. They'll all grow up and get married someday. If they find a good match now, that's fine, Huo Wushuang said. Aren't you worried Huo Wu will be neglected with so many women around him? Shui Yao asked. It was her biggest concern. Huo Wushuang laughed. You worry too much. Look at those women. Ning Rongrong will be the primary one. The rest are similar enough that Xiao Ze can balance them. As long as they don't cause trouble, they'll be fine. What's important is their strength has been rising quickly lately, maybe because of Xiao Ze. They weren't like this before. Shui Yao regarded him as if for the first time. I didn't expect you to have some sense. Hey, I just don't like to use it all the time. Doesn't mean I don't have any, Huo Wushuang protested. Boom. They both turned to see Huo Wu and Shui Yuer bickering again, tugging Xiao Ze between them. Xiao Ze looked utterly exasperated. Shui Yao sighed again. It's good to be young, Huo Wushuang said with a soft chuckle. Good, my foot, jealous over a man, Shui Yao muttered, but she watched the youngsters indulgently. The setting sun stretched their shadows long. In that moment, they weren't formidable spirit masters. They were only parents worried about their children. Later, in Xiao Ze's kitchen, he stood at the stove with his sleeves rolled to his elbows, forearms firm as he focused on stir-frying. The smell of cooking filled the air with savory, tempting sounds. Shui Binger stood to the side, her long hair tied back with a ribbon, a few strands softening her fair cheeks. She watched his every move and held a small notebook, jotting things down between looks. A little salt. How much is a little? And it says medium heat. What is medium heat exactly? And why use medium? She murmured, pen flying across the page. Xiao Ze caught her out of the corner of his eye and couldn't help smiling. You can't learn cooking just from notes. It takes practice. Experience is what teaches you how much salt to add and what medium heat really feels like. Caught like a child at fault, Shui Binger snapped her notebook shut, cheeks flushing. I just wanted to make something edible. Chapter 207, Happy Ordinary Girl. When I have time, I can teach you how to cook, or Meng Yuran can. I taught Meng Yuran. Her cooking isn't exceptional, but she can definitely teach you. Thank you. Xiao Ze, brother. Shui Binger's voice grew softer and soft, and her face flushed. The shy look was undeniably cute. To be honest, I should be younger than you all, so calling me brother is a bit strange, Xiao said with a smile. Eh? Shui Binger blinked. How old are you, brother Xiao Ze? A little over 13. Oh. Shui Binger was surprised. He was 2 years younger than her. She'd become a spirit ancestor at 15, already top-tier talent. Brother Xiao Ze must have innate full spirit power. How amazing. Xiao Ze, reading her expression, only said, I don't have innate full spirit power. Shui Binger froze. How could someone without innate full spirit power cultivate faster than her? It didn't make sense. You'll see when the time comes, he replied. The spatula clanged against the iron wok. Xiao Ze plated the last dish and looked at the somewhat clumsy girl. Want to try some? Shui Binger's eyes widened like a startled little animal. Then she quickly recovered her cool, aloof expression. Only the blush rising to her earlobes betrayed her excitement. Can I? Of course. Since you're at my place, I'll feed you until you're full. Xiao Ze handed her a pair of chopsticks with a gentle smile. Shui Binger accepted them carefully and picked up a small piece of fish with delicate movements. The moment the food touched her tongue, her ice-blue eyes lit up and widened unconsciously. Delicious! After she finished, Shui Binger casually opened her little notebook and jotted a few notes. The sight of her taking notes so seriously made one want to ruffle her hair. It's good. Eat more later, Xiao Ze said. Actually, I've wanted to cook since I was little, Shui Binger suddenly said, lowering her head and absently rubbing her notebook between her fingers. My mother died early, and my father was busy with academy affairs. Then he passed away too. Before my aunt came, I took care of my sister. My cooking back then was terrible. Those days are still fresh in both our memories. Xiao Ze was surprised that this aloof girl would confide like that. He softened his voice. If you want to learn, come here. I'll teach you cooking every day. With your talent, you can learn. And if cooking doesn't suit you, I can teach you other things, like pastries and cakes that Rongrong knows how to make. Those are perfect for girls. Shui Binger looked up, a flicker of surprise in her eyes, and then smiled. Thank you. No need to thank me. Xiao Ze couldn't help but ruffle her hair. Shui Binger's cheeks deepened in color, and she looked down shyly. Ahem, let's start with something simple. How about frying an egg now? Xiao Ze pointed to the stove. Shui Binger nodded eagerly, like a child, and went to stand in front of the stove, a little flustered from inexperience. Xiao Ze paused, surprised at how unfamiliar she was with basic kitchen tasks. What did she cook at home? It would be a long, patient road. Shui Binger clearly wasn't a natural cook like Meng Yiran. He stood behind her, guiding her hands, deliberately keeping a respectful distance. First, don't make the fire too high, he instructed. Shui Binger listened intently, nodding now and then. A faint scent from her hair drifted to Xiao Ze. When the first imperfect fried egg was served, a radiant smile bloomed on her face like spring thawing the snow. I did it! I fried an egg for the first time, she whispered, then quickly restored her composed demeanor, although joy shone in her eyes. Xiao Ze smiled too. He had just seen a side of Shui Binger few people had, not the aloof ice and snow goddess everyone imagined, but an ordinary girl thrilled to learn a small new thing. Outside the kitchen window, Shui Yuer and Huo Wu were peeking in. For once, they weren't teasing each other, but puffed their cheeks in silent offense. My sister actually snuck off, Shui Yuer huffed. You have nerve to say that? I didn't expect your sister to have taken care of you when you were little. You're just a big child, Huo Wu retorted. Nonsense. Shui Yuer's face colored slightly. Humph. Dinner was lively. A large round table groaned under the weight of fragrant, colorful dishes. Wow, Brother Xiao Ze is amazing. Ning Rongrong was first to rush up, her big glazed eyes sparkling. Why are you calling him Brother Xiao Ze too? Xiao Ze is clearly several months younger than you, Duguyan asked. I just like how it sounds, Rongrong said. If they who are much older can call him that, so can I. Xiao Ze didn't mind, though he joked that he hoped Ning Rongrong would call him daddy later when they were in bed. Shui Binger sat quietly in a corner, eyes bright with anticipation. She unfolded her notebook and got her pen ready. Let's eat, Xiao Ze said, and a group of girls reached eagerly for their chopsticks. He watched them with a smile. As a chef, he truly hoped his food would make people happy. Huo Wu and Shui Yuer nearly fought over the last spare rib until Meng Yiran snatched it with her chopsticks. Ye Lingling ate slowly, but her bowl kept piling up. Ning Rongrong fussed over Xiao Ze's bowl, spooning food into it with the air of a proper hostess. Shui Binger had a habit of closing her eyes to savor each bite, then quickly jotting down notes. Jade shrimp, main ingredient fresh river shrimp, marinated with a little egg white and starch, cooked to about 70%, seasoned with salt, a trace of sugar, and, is that Huadiao wine? Xiao Ze glanced casually at her notes and was surprised. This seemingly clumsy girl had an incredibly keen palate. She could pick out what was in the dishes. She had the talent, but her hands and technique lagged behind. In other words, her mind said she could do it, but her hands hadn't quite caught up. A culinary prodigy in theory, a novice in practice. Chapter 208. They are all top girls. By the time dinner wound down, Shui Binger's notebook was already full of cooking tips. She snapped it shut with a satisfied smile and looked up to meet Xiao Ze's amused gaze. The corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Huo Wushuang caught the subtle expression immediately and shot a sour remark. Some people just eat. Why are you taking notes? Shui Yuer rushed to defend her sister. She's studious, unlike some people who only know how to snatch food. Before another round of bickering could start, Xiao Ze intervened. All right. Want to try dessert? I made almond tofu. Yes, the girls answered in unison, and even the usually aloof Juzu King gave a small nod. Night fell and the stars came out like glittering diamonds. Xiao Ze stood alone on the villa terrace, gazing up at the vast, unending sky. Everything was quiet except for the leaves whispering in the breeze. The Milky Way stretched overhead, filled with countless twinkling stars. Xiao Ze loved this quiet, just sitting and watching the heavens. He settled into a long rocking chair and cracked melon seeds. So beautiful, he murmured. Soft footsteps sounded behind him. Shu Yuer had slipped out onto the terrace as well. The moonlight made her long hair shine. She lifted her delicate face so that the entire starry sky was mirrored in her clear blue eyes. Xiao Ze turned slightly and made room for her. Not going to sleep? It was late, so Shu Yuer and her two companions had decided to stay and leave together for the competition tomorrow. Shu Yuer settled beside Xiao Ze, shifting casually until her shoulder brushed his arm. A few playful strands of her hair, carried by the breeze, fell across his shoulder and left a faint, sweet scent. "Brother, Xiao Ze, are you really okay with giving us those rare crops?" Shu Yuer asked, still a little dazed at learning the powerful effects of the plants she'd eaten. It was the first time she'd found out about such things, and it felt magical. "They were grown by my spirit, so I trust you," Xiao Ze said. Shu Yuer's heart fluttered like a startled deer. She moved a fraction closer, ostensibly to adjust her skirt, but her fingers brushed the hem of Xiao Ze's clothes. Feeling the soft contact, Xiao Ze realized she had almost fully leaned against him. He froze for a moment, but didn't pull away. Since everyone seemed to be practically falling into his arms and his social awareness had improved, he didn't want to make a scene. Besides, he liked them all. Huo Wushuang's fiery yet shy contradictions, Shui Yuer's lively and proactive warmth, and Shui Binger's outward coolness hiding a timid, anxious heart. They were all remarkable. Seeing Xiao Ze not resist, Shu Yuer smiled and reached for his hand. "Shui, Yue, Huo Wushuang's indignant shout came from behind them like a stab. It startled both Shu Yuer and Xiao Ze, caught in the act. The red-haired girl stormed over. "Get away from him." Instead of backing down, Shu Yuer playfully linked her arm through Xiao Ze's and stuck her tongue out at Huo Wushuang. "No, come and hit me if you dare." Xiao Ze felt a headache coming on. These two really were rivals. He suddenly grabbed Huo Wushuang's wrist. "Ah!" she gasped, not quick enough to react before Xiao Ze gently drew her into his arms. Instinctively, she steadied herself against his chest and looked up into his eyes. "What are you doing?" Her voice softened. Her cheeks flushed and her long lashes trembled, her red hair draped over Xiao Ze's arm. "Isn't this what you wanted? I'm fair. No need to fight with Yuer," Xiao Ze said with a light smile. "I didn't," Huo Wushuang protested, but she didn't try to pull away. Beside them, Shu Yuer puffed her cheeks in mock indignation for a moment, then quickly brightened and leaned her head on Xiao Ze's other shoulder. "You're lucky," she murmured, a sweet smile breaking across her face. Xiao Ze wrapped his arms gently around the two very different girls. On one side came Huo Wushuang's warm heat, on the other, the cool, fresh scent of Shui Yuer, the hallmark of a water spirit master. The breeze carried their faint fragrances, and for a little while everything fell completely still, the starlight, the wind, the slow beat of hearts. A short distance away, the others watched without meaning to. Shui Binger hugged her knees, a flicker of envy on her face, but she lowered her gaze quickly. Today was not her chance. "Go on, if you want," Duguyan said suddenly, as he appeared behind her and gave her shoulder a playful poke. Shui Binger flinched like a fawn and shook her head. No, it's fine." Ningrongrong and Juju King stood side by side, one full of gossip, the other unreadable, but both kept stealing glances at Xiao Ze. "With a girl on each arm, he's really comfortable," Ningrongrong whispered. "That's nothing new," Juju King replied, the corner of her mouth lifting. "You're always the one who stirs things up." Humph, Ningrongrong teased. "I just don't want Xiao Ze to be lonely, so I keep him company." The night deepened, and the stars grew brighter. The two girls in Xiao Ze's arms slowly relaxed, leaning close and slipping into a peaceful sleep against him. All the noise fell away, leaving only starlight, breeze, and the soft rhythm of their breathing. Shui Binger watched the warm scene and sighed softly, though a quiet hope glimmered in her chest. Maybe tomorrow, or the day after, she might get her chance. Brave Binger wouldn't give up. Go for it. At the same time, in a hotel in Heavendo City, Shui Yao and another figure exchanged helpless looks. "It seems those three girls won't be coming back tonight," Shui Yao said with a soft sigh. "This Xiao Ze is infuriating," the other replied. "They only met today and he brought them back with him. Didn't even escort them home. What if something happens?" "It won't," Shui Yao answered, trying to sound reassuring. With so many people around Xiao Ze, if anything were to happen, it wouldn't be now. Sigh, I'm still worried, the other whispered, unable to hide her concern. Chapter 209, Huang Mao Xiao Ze. The next morning, golden sunlight flooded the Heaven Du Royal Academy Square, making the paving stones glitter. When Xiao Ze arrived at the meeting point, flanked by a group of young women, the entire square fell unnaturally silent. Clatter. Something slipped from a student's hand. His mouth hung open as if he'd swallowed an egg. Am I dreaming? Another student rubbed his eyes. Why do I feel like I'm seeing Huo Wu from Blazing Academy and the Shui sisters from Tianshui Academy? Me too. I saw them too. Oh my God! Xiao Ze, you have no heart! The square seemed frozen. Every student stood rooted in place. Even some teachers were stunned. No one expected someone from Heaven Du Royal Academy to stroll in with beauties from two major elemental academies. Voices fluttered everywhere. My heart can't take this. Damn you, Xiao Ze. They're trailing behind him like obedient pets. What's going on? My goddess is gone. Shui Yuer slipped her arm through Xiao Ze's and leaned close, whispering in his ear, Brother Xiao Ze, looks like you've become the school's public enemy. Xiao Ze shrugged helplessly. I already was, but it wasn't this dramatic before. Maybe too many people like you now. Hehe, but I don't like them. I like Brother Xiao Ze. I fell in love at first sight. You were clearly the one struck by my looks. Being struck by looks is still good. Huo Wu tossed her red hair and shot a fierce glare around. What are you staring at? A few nosy students immediately ducked their heads. Shui Yuer, on the other hand, waved widely and deliberately leaned closer to Xiao Ze, eliciting a chorus of heartbroken sighs. Captain, are you bringing all the beauties from the elemental academies back with you? Shimo asked, his fingers trembling. Among the 5 elemental academies, Tianshui had the most famous beauties, particularly the Shui sisters, Shui Binger and Shui Yuer, and perhaps the dean, though the dean was formidable. Those two were the prize. Other academies had fewer girls. Huo Wu stood out from Blazing Academy, but beyond that, there weren't many who drew attention. Besides, in the world of spirit masters, people looked at talent and strength as much as faces. If you didn't have the ability, a pretty face wasn't worth much. It's a long story, Xiao Ze said. Just then, Meng Shenji and 2 others strolled over. Xiao Ze, impressive. Your charm is astounding. You've charmed 3 girls in 1 day, Meng Shenji teased, smiling. If he'd had that kind of charm back then, he joked, he wouldn't be living under the thumb of the tigress at home now. The dean is joking, Xiao Ze replied, as he chatted with the 3 deans under the envious and jealous gazes of the crowd. The girls behind him exchanged glances. Now that Xiao Ze had 3 beauties at his side, domestic-rustic rivalries at home were going to get interesting. All right, it's getting late. Let's go. When Xiao Ze led the Heaven Do team toward the Great Spirit Arena, Huo Wu Shuang and the Shui sisters spotted the trio accompanying him. Huo Wu was animated. Shui Yuer continued to cling affectionately to Xiao Ze, and even the usually distant Shui Binger flashed a rare, faint smile. Both Huo Wu Shuang and Shui Yao's faces darkened instantly. Huo Wu, and you too. 2 angry roars rang out at once, startling the girls. Huang Zheng and Shui Yao stormed forward, scowling so hard they looked ready to drip. Students hurriedly made way. Dad! Huo Wu deflated like a punctured balloon. Her red hair drooped. The Shui sisters wilted on the spot. Shui Yuer stuck out her tongue, while Shui Binger bowed her head and fidgeted with her fingers. You 3 out all night and went home with a man you've only known a day? You've got some nerve. Huo Zhongzheng pinched Huo Wu's ear. Ow! Ow! Huo Wu rose onto her tiptoes, pleading for mercy. Shui Yao planted her hands on her hips, phoenix eyes blazing. And you 2, leaving without even greeting me. We were pursuing love, Shui Yuer mumbled. Talking back? Shui Yao rapped Shui Yuer on the head. Going home with someone after 1 day, what do you think comes next? The 3 girls were so thoroughly scolded they couldn't lift their heads. Xiao Ze scratched the back of his neck and stepped forward. This is my fault. I didn't send them back. Shui Yao didn't care how outstanding Xiao Ze was. In this matter, she was definitely displeased. Still, she could see he got along well with the girls. Shui Yuer and the others seemed happy, and even Binger smiled, which was rare. Huo Zhongzheng, however, looked at Xiao Ze like a scoundrel. The surrounding students watched the scene with relish. Many secretly thumbed Xiao Ze up. The one who suffered the most, though, was Feng Xiaotian. When he realized Huo Wu and Xiao Ze had gone home together and even stayed overnight, he froze. His teammates, alarmed, scooped him up and carried him into the Great Spirit Arena. "Stand aside. It's not your turn." The scolding lasted a full 10 minutes before Huo Zhongjing and Shui Yao finally calmed. Huo Zhongjing fixed Xiao Ze with a hard look. "Xiao Ze, you're a good young man in many ways, but that's no excuse to make my daughter your concubine." "Dad, this is my own business." Huo Wu stepped in front of Xiao Ze, and Huo Zhongjing's heart ached. His daughter, whom he'd raised for over a decade, suddenly seemed so small. "Xiao Ze, stay away from my daughter from now on," Huo Zhongjing snapped. "And from our girls," Shui Yao added. Under everyone's watching eyes, the three girls were led away by their elders like scolded schoolchildren. Before they left, Huo Wu turned back to make a face at Xiao Ze. Shu Yuer blew him an exaggerated kiss, and Shui Binger could only stare with watery eyes, looking utterly pitiful. "Tsk, Xiao Ze, don't be afraid. Keep going. Huo Zhongjing and Shui Yao are just angry. You can still continue," Bai Baoshan said, patting Xiao Ze's shoulder. "I'm not afraid. It's my problem. Just that they'll suffer for it," Xiao Ze replied. "Ha ha ha. I knew you wouldn't give up. Back in my day." All right. No one wants to hear about your past, fatty." Jilin shoved Bai Baoshan aside. "Sigh!" Everyone filed into the spirit arena. The second day of the exchange matches was about to begin. The first match was Tianshui Academy versus Blazing Academy. From the looks Huo Wu and Shui Yuer were trading, this was clearly a grudge match. The second bout would be Heaven Do Royal Academy against Shenfeng Academy. Xiao Ze was curious how that earnest Feng Xiaoqian would handle it. Feng Xiaoqian had looked off earlier, but the moment he spotted Huo Wu nearby, he brightened and even smiled. "Now that's extreme simp energy," Xiao Ze muttered. Who could be that devoted? In his book, a simp like that was scarier than any of the pretty little divas they'd seen before. The third match was Elephant Armor Academy versus Thunder Academy. There wasn't much suspense there. Elephant Armor had no real chance against most academies. The gap in strength was obvious. On the arena floor, the 14 team members of Tianshui and Blazing Academies squared off. The instant Huo Wu and Shuyer saw one another, sparks flew, as if a volatile powder had been scattered into the air. "Humph!" Huo Wu crossed her arms, her red hair blazing like fire. "Some people dress so scantily. Who are they trying to seduce?" She shot a pointed look at Shuyuer's cool, pale blue short skirt. Shuyer performed a slow twirl. The hem fluttered. It's at least better looking than some people's. Besides, it's the Tianshui Academy uniform. If your eyes are bad, go ask Sister Lingling to check them. And Brother Xiao Ze said, "I look very cute in this outfit." She winked on purpose. "What?" Huo Wu bristled instantly. Shuyuer wagged a finger triumphantly. "He also said I'm much gentler than some hot-tempered little chili peppers." "You're lying. Xiao Ze wouldn't say that." Huo Wu stomped, flames flickering around her. Huo Wushuang massaged his forehead beside her. His sister seemed inseparable from Xiao Ze, and her temper had become explosive since yesterday. He hadn't expected her to behave like this. It made him anxious. Xiao Ze, sitting in the crowd, felt an inexplicable chill run down his spine and sneezed. He hadn't heard their whole exchange. They were too far away. But from Huo Wu's expression, he could tell Shuyuer had seriously provoked her. Shuyuer had the sharper tongue. Huo Wu's temper was something else. Ning Rongrong chuckled beside him. "Someone's being thought of." "Don't talk nonsense." "Oh, where's the nonsense? Last night someone literally hugged 2 girls to solve a problem." Ning Rongrong's voice turned syrupy and teasing. Xiao Ze reacted without thinking. He slid an arm around her slender waist and, to her startled gasp, pulled her into his lap. Ning Rongrong's view rose, and she froze, cheeks alight. Students behind them gaped. "Ah!" Her ears flushed crimson. She buried her face against Xiao Ze's neck, and in a flustered retort, nipped his skin with tiny pearly teeth. "Bad boy, put me down." The bite only made Xiao Ze chuckle. His warm breath brushed her ear. "Now I'm holding you too. Are you happy?" Ning Rongrong whimpered, knuckles white on his collar, her whole face the color of a cooked shrimp. Duguyen laughed until he was shaking. "Isn't our Rongrong always begging Xiao Ze to hold her?" How come now that he actually does it, she's chickening out? Meng Yuran even flipped out a spirit recording tool, one Xiao Ze had had Old Wang customize. Such devices were common enough in the Tianyu Empire. Rongrong, look up at the camera. You guys. Mortified, Ning Rongrong tried to glare, but when she saw the crowd watching, she shrank back against Xiao Ze, steam practically rising off her head. Rongrong is both shy and playful, Ye Lingling observed flatly. I am not, Ning Rongrong protested, but when she looked at Xiao Ze, her protest faltered. His face had a soft, handsome glow to it. Her eyes misted, and she buried her face in his chest, murmuring, Don't say any more. Xiao Ze's smile had been helped along by cucumbers. In their world, many vegetables carried minor spirit effects. Cucumbers didn't have combat spirit, but they improved one's complexion. Regular cucumbers wouldn't drastically change a face, but they could hydrate and smooth skin, making a person look fresher. It was one of Rongrong's favorite snacks. Who didn't want to look a bit better? Ning Rongrong didn't need much help, but the little boost plus her flushed embarrassment made her all the more endearing. Xiao Ze laughed and ruffled her long hair. Back on the field, the argument reached a new pitch. Shui Yuer dropped her voice provocatively. Actually, I know why you're so angry. It's because Brother Xiao Ze hugged me first last night, not you. That was the match point. Shui Yuer, I'll burn your mouth off. Huo Wu's fury roared. Come on then, Shui Yuer shot back. Before anything more volatile could happen, Shui Binger and Huo Wu Shuang moved together. Sister, calm down. This is a match. It hasn't even started. Huo Wu Shuang's own head was spinning. He hadn't expected his sister to be so forward after only one day. Shui Binger gripped her sister's wrist. Sister, stay calm. The referee wiped his brow and hastily called the match to order. As soon as the bell rang, the duel between Huo Wu and Shui Yuer erupted. First soul skill, fire ring bind, Huo Wu cried. 3 scorching rings of flame shot from her palm, forming a triangular lattice that rushed to enclose Shui Yuer. Shui Yuer's lips curled with amusement. First soul skill, Sea Spirit Ice Thorn. Crystalline, dolphin-tooth-shaped ice spikes condensed on her slender fingertips. 3 ice thorns met the fire rings head-on. When ice struck flame, the thorns shattered into millions of glittering shards that sprayed outward. Humph, you've got some skill, Huo Wu snorted. She was a spirit ancestor. Taking down a spirit elder like Shui Yuer shouldn't be difficult. Seeing her sister draw Huo Wu's full attention, Shui Binger led the rest of the Tianshui team into a fierce coordinated assault on the Blazing Academy members. Tianshui only had one spirit ancestor, Shui Binger. Shui Wu and Yu Hairo hadn't reached spirit ancestor yet, so the team's overall strength lagged behind Blazing Academies. The difference wasn't insurmountable. It would come down to teamwork. And while Shui Yuer could hold her head in the fight, Huo Wu's combustible temper made her less predictable in a team setting. Chapter 211, Shui Binger's Abilities. At the same time, Shui Wu spread her arms, twisted her slender waist, and traced graceful arcs with her toes on the ground. Her dance was light and exquisite. As she moved, the sky above the arena suddenly shifted. A massive dark cloud coalesced out of nowhere, swallowing the entire arena in an oppressive gloom. Large raindrops began to pour down from the cloud, but as they neared the Tianshui Academy members, they struck an invisible barrier and slid away. The Blazing Academy fighters, however, were instantly soaked. Huo Wu Shuang's red hair plastered to her face, leaving her looking disheveled. Shui Wu didn't stop dancing. The raindrops in the dark cloud transformed into large snowflakes and fell in a wild flurry. The arena's temperature plunged at an astonishing rate. Thin sheets of ice formed on the ground, and the air condensed into tiny ice crystals. White breath fogged from the Blazing Academy members' mouths. Frost rimmed their eyebrows and hair tips. So cold, someone muttered. The Blazing Academy were forced to spend spirit power to form protective layers to resist the biting cold. Even a spirit ancestor like Huo Wushuang had to divert spirit power to maintain her body temperature. That showed how effective Shui Wu's spirit ability was, not overwhelmingly powerful, but devastatingly useful on a battlefield because of its massive area coverage. Huo Wushuang stamped her foot in anger and found the sole of her boot frozen to the ground. Damn you, Shui Wu. She snapped, then unleashed another technique. Second soul skill, Fire Dance, Prairie Fire. Blazing flames surged out from her, consuming part of the field and melting Shui Wu's ice and snow in an instant. Shui Er, however, remained unfazed. She inhaled deeply and exhaled a bitter wind filled with countless ice shards. The cold air twisted and swelled into an ice frost tornado. Wherever it passed, walls of flame were extinguished. This is troublesome, Huo Wushuang thought. Although her spirit power was greater than Shui Er's, their base spirit abilities were comparable, and she couldn't afford to pour all her energy into stopping Yuer. She needed to save power for Shui Binger later. Shui Binger was Tian Shui Academy's linchpin. Her control over the battlefield was extraordinary, and she possessed solid self-preservation instincts. Under her continual ice ceiling, everyone on the blazing side except Huo Wushuang struggled. The two support-class spirit masters on Huo's team hadn't been able to activate a single spirit ability. They were controlled from the start, minds fraying on the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, aside from Shui Wu, all Tianshui fighters had combat capabilities. Huo Wushuang and her two teammates were being surrounded and beaten back. Although Huo was powerful, her two partners were already bruised and battered. Seeing things going poorly, Huo Wushuang suddenly raised both hands. Her fourth spirit ring erupted in blinding light. Fourth soul skill, Fire Dance, Blazing Sun. A searing white orb of fire condensed above her head, heat distorting the air around it. Spectators on the stage instinctively raised their hands to shield against the surge of heat. Go! Huo Wushuang hurled the white fire orb at Shui Yuer. Shui Yuer's pupils constricted. She'd never before seen Huo's fourth spirit ability. The blazing sun's momentum was staggering, and for a moment she froze in awe. Sister! Shui Binger's tactile awareness of the battlefield was razor-sharp. The commotion from Huo Wushuang flashed like an alarm through her senses. With a delicate flick of her hand, a crystalline, ice-blue halo expanded outward and struck the incoming fire orb. The orb visibly shrank, but it still carried terrifying power. The halo also wrapped Shui Yuer in a layer of crystalline blue armor. Shui Binger's movements didn't pause. Her fourth spirit ring flared almost immediately. Fourth soul skill, Snow Spirit Chant. Instantly, the arena's temperature plunged even further. Countless icier snowflakes drifted down. These were a different, far colder variety than Shui Wu's. Shui Binger's fourth was a domain-type spirit ability. Sharp ice thorns erupted from the ground, lashing at the white fire orb and steadily sapping its strength. Though weakened layer by layer, the fire orb still detonated with a thunderous roar in front of Shui Er. The shockwave hurled her tens of meters, the crystalline armor shattered into fragments under the blast. She slammed onto the ice, carving a long trail. Cough, cough. She propped herself up, blood at the corner of her mouth, but her injuries were lighter than they looked. Shui Binger nodded slightly, a flicker of pain crossing her ice-blue eyes. It stung to see an ally hurt, but this was a competition. Winners and losers were inevitable. Huo Wushuang gasped. Blazing Sun had burned through a large chunk of her spirit power. The skill did massive damage, but at a high cost. Even she couldn't use it repeatedly. Shui Binger noticed that immediately and shifted tactics. She began steering Tianshui Academy into a war of attrition. Most of Tianshui's spirit abilities weren't overwhelmingly powerful, but they were energy efficient, perfect for outlasting an opponent. Within Shui Binger's ice and snow domain, a continuous forest of ice thorns rose up and knocked the Blazing Academy's two support spirit masters completely out of the arena, saving her the trouble of dealing with them herself. Brother Xiao Ze, what do you think? Ning Rongrong had recovered enough to watch the match again, although her cheeks were still flushed. Looking at the battle calmed her. Tianshui Academy takes it, Xiao Ze replied. Huo Wushuang is aggressive, and many of her spirit abilities are area of effect. She spent a lot of time on Yuer. With Binger over there, and without Huo's cover, Huo Wushuang couldn't charge forward. She could only take hits. And Binger is genuinely strong. Her control is extremely precise. It's just that her first soul skill has a low age cap. If it were 1,000 or 10,000 year skill, her single target control would overshadow Yan Yanji's. Is that so? Dugu Yan's voice carried no anger. She'd been watching and already knew how powerful Shui Binger was. Yes, Xiao Ze went on. Yan Yanji's control is mainly massive area and poison-based. Binger's is single target, but can dominate the field. She's suited to be a commanding captain. If she learned heart separation control, she'd be even stronger. It's a bit of a pity about her ice phoenix spirit. Its natural inclination would suit an assault role better, though ice already provides excellent control. But why give her a defensive spirit ability? Xiao Ze shrugged inwardly at the thought of a defensive spirit ability. A more aggressive or additional group control skill would have fit her better. He wondered, too, if in the future, perhaps when facing a divine trial, she might be able to change her spirit ability, but by then, it likely wouldn't be necessary. Chapter 212. When will this Shura field end? After a long fight, Blazing Academy's spirit power was nearly exhausted. Huowu was captured, immediately frozen by Shui Binger, and then kicked off the arena by Shui Yuer. The remaining members were taken down one by one. Tianshui Academy wins! The crowd erupted in cheers. The Ice and Fire showdown had been spectacular. That was incredible, someone murmured. Especially the fight between those two, Huowu and Shui Yuer. A real feast for the eyes. It's a pity they're fighting over a man, another voice said. Shui Binger's control was outstanding too. She's a genius. The match over, Huowu and Shui Yuer straightened their battle-tuzzled skirts at the same time and hurried toward Xiao Ze. Though they'd just been clashing fiercely, the two women now shared the same unspoken goal, win Xiao Ze's approval. Huowu reached him first, her red hair still damp, cheeks flushed from exertion. Hands on her hips, she lifted her chin with practiced pride. Xiao Ze, did you see my blazing sun dance? Impressive, right? Her tone tried for boldness, but her bright eyes begged for praise. Shuyuer slid up on the other side. You didn't even win. What's there to be so proud of? Brother Xiao Ze, was I beautiful just now? Huo Binger's sweet voice trembled with obvious hope. Huo Wu, Shuyuer snapped. If it weren't for your sister, you wouldn't have lost at all. But I won. Xiao Ze found himself squarely between the two, fire and water, feeling helpless. Clearing his throat, he tried to be fair. Okay, Huo Wu, your strength is great, but your tactics are fuzzy. You were baited by Yuer. And Yuer, your individual strength might not be the greatest, but you exploit people's personalities to make them slip up. It's not just you. Blazing Academy as a whole lacks a proper commander. Tianshui Academy doesn't have one either, Huo Wu protested, a little wounded. Their academy usually fought like this and won more often than not. It's different. Tianshui may not have an official commander, but Binger acts like one. Xiao Ze looked at Shui Binger. Her cheeks colored faintly, and she looked down, embarrassed. Huo Wu frowned. What do you mean? Her control is her command, Xiao Ze explained. If Binger controls one person, the Tianshui students around that person will gang up, no exceptions. Binger is powerful, and Tianshui's execution is tight. Individually, they might not be the strongest, but they know how to fight with strength in numbers. Your blazing team couldn't handle it. Huo Wu fell quiet and thought it over. In the heat of battle, she hadn't fully realized how dangerous Tianshui's coordination was. See? Our Tianshui Academy's better than yours, Shui Yuer crowed. I'm better than you. Huo Wu shot back. Xiao Ze sighed inwardly as the two began bickering again. Enough. You both did great. He reached out and ruffled both their heads. The sudden intimacy froze them both. Huo Wu went bright red to the tips of her ears. Shui Yuer uncharacteristically blushed and looked shy. Watching from a distance, Huo Wu Shuang and Shui Yao rubbed their foreheads and sighed. The three of them hadn't been together long before they were already causing chaos again. Uncontrollable, as always. In the stands, countless boys cast envious looks at Xiao Ze. He, surrounded by the girls, had only one thought. When will this Shura field end? Soon Xiao Ze and the others were called back to the arena. Shui Yuer, Huo Wu, and Shui Binger stood in a row, cheering him on. Go, brother Xiao Ze! Crush them! Shui Yuer cupped her hands, her voice bright and loud. She bounced a little. Her sea blue skirt fluttered and drew more attention. Huo Wu wasn't to be outdone. Xiao Ze! Teach them a lesson. Even the usually aloof Shui Binger spoke softly. Please, do your best. Her voice was low, but her ice-blue eyes shone with genuine encouragement. Sister, your voice is too soft, Shui Yuer teased. I'm already loud, Shui Binger pouted. Don't you know what your sister's like? Huo Wu said. Of course I do. She's not very assertive. She needs to take the initiative sometimes, Shui Binger admitted, recalling the way Huowu and her sister had interacted with Xiao Ze the previous night. Maybe she did need to step up, otherwise she wouldn't even get a taste of what's to come. The trio of beauties cheering in unison became the center of attention. Many boys in the stands watched, green with envy. Not far away in Shenfeng Academy's waiting area, Feng Xiaoqian saw Huowu cheering for Xiao Ze and felt as if he'd been struck by lightning. Huowu, cheering for Xiao Ze? He staggered, his face draining of color. His teammates exchanged worried looks, muttering under their breath. It's over. Our captain's morale has collapsed. There are already spirit ancestors on the other side. How can the captain fight like this? Can that Xiao Ze stop flirting in front of our captain? Can the simp just die? Captain? One teammate ventured cautiously. Feng Xiaotian seemed frozen, staring blankly at Huowu's retreating figure as she cheered for Xiao Ze. Captain! Captain! The teammate raised his voice. We still have a match to play. Feng Xiaoqian blinked and shook himself, answering mechanically. Yes, we still have a match. You can't stay like this. You only have the right to win Huowu back if you beat Xiao Ze. Otherwise, you'll just watch them get close, kiss, and have kids. Then their kids won't even respect you. Another teammate couldn't help but blurt out the most provocative motivation he could think of. The others stared at him, dumbfounded, then oddly relieved. Feng Xiaoqian clenched his fists. Right. Huowu must have been impressed by Xiao Ze. I have to win her back. I have to win. Everyone exhaled. The captain was still usable after all. The Heaven-Du Royal Academy and Shenfeng Academy teams arrived at the arena. Everyone awaited the match with high expectations. Shenfeng Academy was one of the top 2 among the 5 element academies, so if anyone wanted to judge Xiao Ze and his team's true strength, Shenfeng and Tianshui academies were the most qualified. Although Shenfeng only had 1 spirit ancestor, the spirit power of their other students was at least level 35, and they had a strong captain in Feng Xiaoqian. Feng Xiaoqian stepped forward and looked at Xiao Ze with a complicated expression. Despite Xiao Ze having taken Huowu, there was no overt hostility between them. They hadn't even exchanged words. Xiao Ze, I'll win Huowu back, Feng Xiaoqian suddenly declared. Xiao Ze blinked. Huowu is a living person, not an object. She has her own will. How do you plan to win her back? Feng Xiaoqian hadn't expected that answer and fell silent. Match start! Xiao Ze immediately summoned Qinglu, Douluo, Yujin, and Shi Mang. Feng Xiaoqian's pupils tightened. Different summoned beasts. Everyone in the stands was stunned. There was actually someone who could summon different beasts from the same spirit ring. Did he have a 100,000-year spirit ring capable of holding 2 spirit abilities? What's going on with him? Huo Zhongzhang asked Meng Shenji. Meng Shenji shook his head. I don't know either. You're a dean and you don't know? Meng Shenji managed a bitter laugh. I really don't. Although Xiao Ze is a student of Heaven-Du Royal Academy, he took a villa, but he hasn't asked for any resources. He cultivates on his own. The others were shocked. After all that, your academy gets a genius for free? Huo Zhongzheng barked. Cough, don't put it that way. We still have Du Guyan and Ye Lingling, Bai Baoshan whispered. If Poison Douluo heard you thinking that, he'd probably tear you apart, Hu Yanzhen said with a laugh. No way. Meng Shenji and the others went pale. Other titled Douluo could be handled with force. Poison Douluo's temperament was another matter entirely. On the arena, the battle had begun. Feng Xiaoqian made himself take wing. Large green wings unfurled from his back, and he flew straight at Xiao Ze. At the same time, his second spirit ring glowed, and the phantom of a 2-headed wolf merged with him, boosting his attack, defense, and agility by 50%. Xiao Ze watched him approach calmly. Under the dual enhancements of Ningrongrong and Douluo, Yujin and the other spirits' combat power had reached an astonishing level. Yujin, use corn meteor shower. Yujin inclined its head, and suddenly a storm of burning corn kernels rained down. Feng Xiaoqian sneered. What could small corn kernels do? But he still dodged cautiously. The kernels fell, and then, all at once, detonated. Booms rolled through the arena like thunder, blasting the Shenfeng team violently. Only Feng Xiaoqian remained in the air. Several of his teammates were thrown up and away by the explosions. What the? Are these even human? Corn that explodes. No wonder they're on fire. Feng Xiaochan wanted to curse, but knew it wouldn't help. He steadied himself and darted close to Xiao Ze. Sharp wolf claws extended from his palms, releasing 10 crescent-shaped wind blades to cut off all escape routes. Without any command, Shimong moved in front of Xiao Ze, arranging wheat grains into a multifaceted prism that reflected the wind blades back. Not good! Feng Xiaotan raised himself to avoid them, but Qinglu's control hit next. A phantom of the Sky Codex descended, holding Feng Shen suspended in the air, completely immobile. The rest of Shenfeng Academy couldn't get to him. After the corn bombardment and the follow-up attacks from Du Guyan and the others, they were already struggling to defend themselves. Feng Rui cracked jokes from the sidelines. Feng Rui, it seems your Shenfeng Academy is no match. You didn't even last as long as our Blazing Academy. Huo Zhongzheng laughed. Humph, don't forget how many from Heaven Du Royal Academy moved last time, Feng Rui snapped. If you're weak, you're weak. No need to gloat. Huo Zhongzheng retorted, a summer insect cannot speak of ice. Feng Xiaotian mobilized spirit power, trying to break free, but the distance between his capabilities and his opponents was too wide. He could only rely on his hands. Shimong swung a giant light scythe at him. Holy cow, so big! Feng Xiaoqian extended sharp blades from his hands, and a phantom wolf-shaped light surged behind him. 6 razor cuts shot forward, but they shattered the instant they hit the light scythe. The scythe smashed into Feng Xiaoqian with full force. Blood bloomed across his chest, and he was hurled backward like a kite with a snapped string, coughing blood as he flew. Captain! You should look out for yourselves, Xiao Ze said coolly. Du Guyan summoned multiple Bilin Jiao poisonous shadows to form a poisonous array, sealing the area and trapping all 6 members of Shenfeng Academy inside. Those within the array would be continuously poisoned, with no escape unless they left the zone. Meng Yuran and Zhu King waited just outside, poised to strike if any of them tried to break free. Feng Xiaoqian looked at his teammates' pale, strained faces and raised his hand slowly. Shenfeng Academy surrenders. There was no choice. The strength gap was overwhelming. If they continued, his teammates would be fatally endangered. He couldn't sacrifice them for his pride, and he himself had no chance. Xiao Ze was simply too strong. Heaven Do Royal Academy wins. The referee announced the end of the match. Heaven Do Royal Academy had defeated Shenfeng Academy decisively. Brother Xiao Ze, that was amazing. Shu Yuer sprang up, forming a heart with her hands and smiling sweetly. Her eyes curved like crescents. The smile was so pure it caught Xiao Ze off guard. He'd never seen her like this. Not even Rongrong's smile had been this sweet, as expected of sweet girl Shui Yuer. The next day, the competition ended. Shui Yuer immediately grabbed Xiao Ze's sleeve and dragged him away. Phew, she breathed, patting her chest. Do we really have to be so sneaky? Xiao Ze asked, exasperated. Of course we do, Shui Yuer said, nodding vigorously. If my aunt finds out, I'll be finished. Xiao Ze frowned. Avoiding the problem won't help. If you want to be with me, your aunt has to approve. Shui Yuer bit her lower lip, revealing a flash of silver teeth. Then what do we do? She asked, and even Shui Binger turned to look at Xiao Ze. We'll make a trip to Tianshui Academy, Xiao Ze said, glancing toward Ning Rongrong and the others. See for ourselves. Sounds good. We've never been, Du Guyan agreed. Ning Rongrong nodded eagerly. Tianshui Academy is an all-girls school. I'm really curious. At that, Shu Yuer's expression changed. Could Rongrong like girls? Oh my. Ning Rongrong caught her face and puffed out her cheeks. Are you thinking something rude? She teased. Shu Yuer cleared her throat. No, absolutely not. You say no, but I know you. That face gives it away. Ning Rongrong laughed, then pounced, hands finding Shu Yuer's waist with unerring accuracy. Ah, Rongrong, stop! Ha, that tickles! Shu Yuer shrieked, instantly losing her composure. She twisted and laughed until tears pricked her eyes, pleading for mercy. Ning Rongrong was relentless, nimbly seeking out every ticklish spot. Tell me, what rude thing were you thinking about? Ning Rongrong demanded between giggles. I wasn't! Ha! Xiao Ze Gege, save me! Shu Yuer's knees went weak with laughter as she looked to Xiao Ze for help. He made to step forward, but Huo Wu held him back. Don't worry about them, Huo Wu said, smiling as she stopped him. They're not children. They know where the line is. Truth be told, she was enjoying the show. Shu Yuer's flailing and laughter were amusing. The two girls played, hair flying, their laughter ringing like silver bells. Duguyan, like a professional photographer, stored the scene in memory to enjoy later. Shui Binger watched the spirit tool at Duguyan's side with interest. Yanyanje, is that a spirit tool? She asked softly. Yes, Duguyan replied. I've never seen one like it, Shui Binger said. She knew a little about spirit tools, but nothing matched this. It's from a treasure Xiao Ze found, Duguyan explained. Inside were blueprints for spirit tools from ancient empires, including this design. How fascinating! Shui Binger's eyes lit up. She had been dutiful and well-mannered all her life, but she didn't want a lifetime of only that. She wanted excitement, and by Xiao Ze's side she'd seen so many new things, mysterious crops, strange cooking, and now ancient spirit artifacts. It felt wonderful. Xiao Ze looked at the warm circle of friends and felt that, perhaps, this kind of life wasn't so bad. Feng Xiaotian had been watching from a short distance and now walked over slowly. Huo Wu stepped in front of Xiao Ze as he approached. Feng Xiaoqian, what are you doing here? She demanded. Feng Xiaoqian's lips twitched. Do I really annoy you that much, Huo Wu? He asked with a wry half-smile. Well, not really, she admitted. You're annoying, but you're a good person. Feng Xiaoqian let out a relieved sigh. No romance was likely between them, but at least they could be friends. They'd been childhood companions, after all. Xiao Ze, you must treat Huo Wu well, Feng Xiaoqian said earnestly. Oh, and Huo Wu's sensitive to pain, so when you get to the bridal chamber, be gentle, very gentle. Xiao Ze felt his face go numb. Bridal chamber? Feng Xiaoqian, really? The man was thinking far ahead. Huo Wu's face flushed crimson at the suggestion, and she activated her spirit in a flash. Feng Xiaoqian, die! Startled, Feng Xiaoqian fled, hair ruffled and pride slightly singed. The girls watched, mouths twitching as Huo Wu chased him, managing to scorch off more than half his hair before he dared to stop resisting. He makes me so angry. Huo Wu huffed as she returned. How do you feel now? Shu Yuer teased. You can try it yourself, Huo Wu grumbled, though a faint blush lingered on her cheeks. That Feng Xiaoqian is crazy. Don't listen to what he says. Her shy, flustered manner was a new and intriguing side of her. Let's go, Xiao Ze said. I'll cook something delicious for everyone tonight. Tell me what you want and I'll go buy the ingredients. Yay, Shui Binger squealed. Feng Xiaoqian smoothed his singed hair, watching Huo Wu's retreating figure with a wry smile. Huo Wu, he called softly, I wish you happiness in the future. Chapter 215, I wish you happiness in the future. The contest ended the next day. Shu Yuer grabbed Xiao Ze and bolted away. Once they were a safe distance, she patted her chest and let out a long breath. Phew, do we really have to be that careful? Xiao Ze asked with an ironic smile. Of course we do, Shu Yuer replied, nodding vigorously. If my aunt finds out, I won't be allowed out at all. That kind of hiding won't solve everything, Xiao Ze said. If you want to be with me, your aunt has to agree. Shu Yuer bit her lower lip. Then what should we do? She asked. Even Shui Binger looked at Xiao Ze, waiting. We'll visit Tianshui Academy sometime, Xiao Ze proposed, glancing at Ning Rongrong and the others. Sounds great. We've never been, Duguyan said. Ning Rongrong nodded eagerly. Yes, Tianshui Academy is only for girls. I've always wanted to see it. Shui Yuer's expression flickered. Could Rongrong like girls? She nearly choked on the thought. Ning Rongrong caught the look and puffed out her cheeks. Were you thinking something improper? Shui Yuer coughed. No, absolutely not. You say no, but I know that face, Ning Rongrong teased. Before Shui Yuer could react, Ning Rongrong pounced, her hands landing on Shui Yuer's waist. Ah! Rongrong, what are you doing? Ha ha ha! Don't touch there, it tickles. Caught off guard, Shui Yuer dissolved into laughter. She twisted and squirmed as Ning Rongrong's fingers found every sensitive spot, laughing until tears came to her eyes. Still not telling? Tell me what rude thing you were thinking about. I wasn't. Ha! Xiao Ze, save me! Shu Yuer's legs went to jelly. She cast a pleading look at Xiao Ze, but Huo Wu gently held him back. Don't mind them, Huo Wu said with a small smile. They're not children anymore. They know their limits. Her words sounded reproachful, but her eyes betrayed her. She was enjoying the scene far too much. The two girls continued to tumble and laugh, their hair flying, their voices like silver bells. Duguyan stood by like a dedicated photographer, capturing the moment to relive later. Yanyanje, is that a spirit tool? Shui Binger asked softly, nodding at an unusual device nearby. Yes, Duguyan answered. It's a spirit tool. I've never seen one like it, Shui Binger said, curious. She knew a little about spirit tools, but this type was unfamiliar. It's not something I can't explain, Xiao Ze said. I found it in a treasure earlier. There were blueprints for ancient empire spirit tools among the loot, and this came from those plans. So that's how it happened. What an interesting find. Shui Binger's eyes shone. She had always been obedient, but she didn't want a life without surprises. Being by Xiao Ze's side introduced her to so many new things, mysterious crops, his cooking, and more. It was wonderful. Xiao Ze watched the warm, easy scene and felt a gentle contentment. Feng Xiaoqian, who had been observing from a distance, walked over slowly. Feng Xiaoqian, what are you doing here? Huowu sprang to her feet and stepped in front of Xiao Ze as he approached. Feng Xiaoqian forced a small smile. Huowu, do I annoy you that much? That, not really, Huowu replied, looking flustered. You can be irritating, but you're a good person. She sounded more conciliatory than she had any right to be. Feng Xiaoqian visibly relaxed. Although they had no future together, at least they could remain friends. They had been childhood sweethearts, after all. Xiao Ze, Feng Xiaoqian added, forcing a laugh, you must treat Huowu well. And Huowu doesn't like pain, so when you go into the bridal chamber, be gentle, be gentle. Xiao Ze went numb. Bridal chamber? Really? Feng Xiaoqian was thinking far ahead. Huowu's face flushed scarlet. She snapped into action, initiating spirit possession. Feng Xiaoqian, you'll pay for that! Feng Xiaoqian yelped and fled, his hair smoking as Huowu chased him. The girls watched, lips twitching, as Huowu hounded him until more than half his hair was singed. He didn't dare fight back. Huff! I'm so mad! Huowu returned, out of breath. How is it? Feel better? Shu Yuer asked, smiling. You can try it yourself, Huowu grumbled, then glanced at Xiao Ze and suddenly went shy, lowering her head. That Feng Xiaotan is crazy. Don't listen to what he says. Xiao Ze was surprised. Huowu could really be bashful, and it suited her in a way that felt more genuine than her usual sharpness. All right, let's go. I'll make something delicious today. Tell me what you want, and I'll go buy the ingredients. Xiao Ze offered, and Shui Binger lit up immediately. Feng Xiaotian smoothed his singed hair and watched Huowu walk away. He forced a bitter smile and quietly, to no one in particular, said, Huowu, I wish you happiness in the future. Chapter 216. It's Xiao Ze again. In the blink of an eye, the fourth day of the exchange competition arrived. On the third day, Heaven Do Royal Academy had utterly routed Elephant Armor Academy. Elephant Armor had no answer at all. Everyone witnessed, once more, the dominance of Heaven Do Royal Academy. This team was terrifyingly strong. Even looking back 100 years, there hadn't been such a lineup. This year was their best chance to take the Soul Master Competition Championship. Emperor Shuiye was so pleased his condition seemed to improve for the first time. Qian Renshui, who had earlier been coughing up blood, also seemed to recover for the moment. She looked up at the sky and thought, Xiao Ze really is an interesting one. I wonder what that woman will do. Kill him or recruit him. Although Qian Renshui hadn't spent much time with Xiao Ze, she could tell he felt little allegiance to the Heaven Do Empire. He hadn't even claimed any of the resources. If Spirit Hall recruited him, he might just join them outright. She wanted to see Emperor Shuiye's reaction, but that would probably have to wait. In Spirit Hall, Bibi Dong lounged lazily on her bed, a loose purple nightgown draped over her figure. The collar lay slightly open, revealing a stretch of snow-white neck and delicate collarbones, slender enough to cradle a small fish. The silky fabric rose and fell with her breathing, outlining the full curves of a mature woman. Her long, graceful fingers held a white letter. She skimmed it with half-lidded amethyst eyes. When she reached a key passage, she sat up, the hem of her nightgown sliding to reveal fair, jade-like calves. A light chuckle curled her red lips. Heh, it's Xiao Ze again. How interesting. Does this little guy not have a 10,000-year fourth spirit ring? Seems a 10,000-year fourth ring is still hard to come by. What a pity. She tore the letter up and lay back, adjusting her posture with an almost languid, deliberate grace that made the hint of exposed skin all the more alluring. After a moment's rest, she rose, bare feet sinking into the soft carpet. When the time comes, I'll see what this so-called genius is like. Is he as powerful as our spirit hall's golden generation? She murmured, a breeze teasing her hair and the thin fabric of her nightgown, the charm of an experienced woman palpable in every movement. Next up, Heaven Do Royal Academy versus Tianshui Academy. The fourth day was drawing to a close. Only the Heaven Do Royal Academy versus Tianshui Academy match remained. The previous two matches had ended quickly. When the roster was announced, Shui Binger and Shui Yuer both looked torn. After spending these past few days with Xiao Ze, their bond with him had grown close. It pained them to have to fight him. Shui Yuer pouted, fluttering watery eyes wide. "Brother Xiao Ze, do we really have to fight?" She looked plaintive. "Can't you go easy on us? We can't possibly beat you. You're too amazing." Shui Binger was silent beside her. Xiao Ze smiled and ruffled Shui Yuer's head. Her pout was just too cute. "No, a competition is a competition. I won't go easy. Besides, don't you two have a spirit fusion skill?" Shui Yuer stuck out her little pink tongue. "Our spirit fusion skill is meant for the Soul Master competition, to surprise everyone." "Right, a competition is a competition. No tricks." "Okay, I was just saying," she grinned. "We're on," someone called. All 14 members from both academies took the stage. "Vice Captain, Captain, you two aren't going to go easy, are you?" Yuhiro teased. "Don't be ridiculous. Even if we don't go easy, we still can't beat him," Shui Yuer said. "True, but you two are the opposing captain's little wives, so he'll go easy. Poor us, we're gonna get hurt." "Shut up." Laughter broke out among the girls. These past few days, they'd been enjoying the lighthearted gossip their captains provided. The two captains were clearly smitten. The vice captain had been completely tamed. "Quiet, the match is about to begin," Shui Binger said, blushing. "Start." The referee's order sounded. Shui Binger immediately unleashed a frozen seal intended to prevent Xiao Ze from summoning his beasts for a short time. Xiao Ze simply took a step back. The frozen seal sailed past him and failed to connect. Shui Binger's eyes narrowed. Xiao Ze smiled. "Looks like I didn't misjudge things these past few days." He had realized that Shui Binger's frozen seal reached precisely the distance between them. A single step back put him out of range. Shui Binger loved to strike first. Now that she had missed, Tianshui Academy was in a bind. Xiao Ze summoned Red Flame, Scarlet Serpent, Mangguang, and Douluo. Douluo and Ningrongrong cast their buffs and then watched from the sidelines. Mangguang, charge and break their formation. Moo moo! Mangguang's muscles swelled, his bulk doubled. He launched a charging attack straight into Tianshui Academy's formation. Careful! Shui Binger fired a repelling ice ring, but it only slowed Mangguang briefly before being shattered. "His strength isn't on our level," she warned. Sheiwu tensed. Mangguang was barreling straight toward her. All of Sheiwu's spirit abilities required dancing, and dancing required her to stay rooted in place. She couldn't use them while fleeing. With the buffs from Douluo and Ningrongrong, Mangguang had become a living battering ram. He stomped the ground, sending out 3 shockwaves that, even if they didn't hit directly, distorted the battlefield and disrupted all 7 members of Tianshui Academy. Meng Yiran and the others surged forward as well, pursuing relentlessly and attacking with coordinated strikes. "Oh my God, Sister Yiran, is that really necessary?" Shu Yuer asked with a wry smile as she backed away. "Yuer, don't run. Let me send you out," Meng Yiran said. "Impossible." Third spirit ability, Extreme Cold Tornado. Shu Yuer exhaled a storm of shattering ice. A 10-meter diameter ice tornado wall formed, serrated blades of ice spinning at high speed, aiming to trap Meng Yiran. Meng Yiran's second spirit ring flared under her feet. Her body became suddenly serpentine and flexible. She bent and twisted like a snake, then thrust a curved blade forward and used the recoil to spring herself out of Shu Yuer's attack range. Chapter 2:17. The Chaotic Meanwhile, Juju King was fighting 2 opponents alone. Her speed and reflexes were exceptional. A 1-on-2 fight barely fazed her. She even held a slight advantage, since her buffs were genuine. When Du Guyan saw Shui Binger about to activate her domain, she spat out a thick purple mist that spread through the air. The poisonous fog had a pungent, fishy stench that made people nauseous and dizzy. Even slight contact could cause putrefaction and death. "This is bad," Shui Binger murmured. Only Shui Yuer among them could easily disperse Duguyan's poison, but she was currently pinned down by Meng Yiran. Shui Binger had to release her repulsion ice ring again to clear part of the mist, but some still drifted toward her and the person beside her. The two of them immediately went purple, though their conditions weren't critical. Seeing this, Red Flame and Scarlet Serpent stepped forward. Shui Binger noticed the ground beneath her suddenly redden and sensed danger, so she fled. A moment later, a small volcano erupted, spewing countless red potatoes that carpeted the area, delivering wide-ranging attacks and compressing Tianshui Academy's movement space. Simultaneously, Scarlet Serpent unleashed 108 chili bombs from its body, like a celestial maiden scattering flowers, sending them flying in all directions. Each bomb was thumb-sized but streaked across the sky in fiery trails. Boom! The first hit the ground and erupted into a fireball. The scorching flames, mixed with an acrid chili scent, swept outward. Then the second, third, and many more exploded in succession, turning the arena into a sea of fire. Not only were Tianshui Academy's positions compressed, Heaven Do Royal Academy's side was squeezed too. The chilly stench made everyone cough and cry. "This is insane. Xiao Ze, are you a spy?" Ning Rongrong complained, covering her mouth and nose, eyes watering. "No way. Maybe Scarlet Serpent's power has increased. It wasn't this bad before," Xiao Ze said, embarrassed. Scarlet Serpent hadn't fought in a long time. No one expected its chili bombs to be this potent. Juju King dodged through the flames with her agility, but every breath scorched her throat. Outside the arena, the crowd was stunned. Good heavens, Xiao Ze is causing trouble. He's hurting his own people more than the enemy. Cough, this smoke is drifting this way. Someone blow it back. People from Shenfeng Academy rushed in, each taking positions to blow the chili-laced smoke away. Xiao Ze wiped his burning eyes and let Scarlet Serpent and the others act on their own. Flying up into the smoke would be pointless, since visibility inside the blaze was near zero. He stayed behind with Ning Rongrong and Ye Lingling, waiting for the fight to end. Tianshui Academy's fighters suffered even worse. Besides the chili flames, they faced Juju King and Meng Yiran's encirclement. Shui Yuer's eyes swelled shut. She could only squint through a constant stream of tears. "Nasty brother Xiao Ze, my eyes are the worst they've ever been," she complained pitifully. "Sister, I can barely open mine either," Shui Binger said. She was faring slightly better, but the flames and chili were fiercest where they stood. In the sea of fire, the Scarlet Serpent was barely visible. The chilies had no effect on it. It didn't choke at all. It maintained its combat capability and, with a cry, activated Scarlet Serpent True Fire. It merged with the field flames. Its body color blended so well that from a distance, it was nearly invisible. Its chili tendrils became whip blades, lashing constantly at the Tianshui girls. They tried to fight back, but their eyes kept closing. If they forced them open, the pain was unbearable. Within moments, 3 or 4 fighters had been defeated and left the stage. "I'm done. I can't keep fighting." Shuyuer collapsed. Her eyes were effectively blind. A summoned beast, the same color as the flames. What an absurd matchup. Xiao Ze inwardly admitted he'd found an effective tactic, albeit a cruel one. It worked. Soon the remaining Tianshui fighters were driven off stage. When Xiao Ze and his team stepped down, a referee was waiting. "Shouldn't you be on the stage? And where are your sunglasses?" Xiao Ze asked. "Do I look stupid? This chili's got me too," the referee said, removing his shades to reveal reddened, swollen eyes. Xiao Ze flushed. My bad. Don't let it up again. You have a lot of summoned beasts. Just don't send that one up next time." The referee gripped Xiao Ze's arm, earnest and a little angry. "I know. I didn't expect it'd be this bad either." Xiao Ze glanced at both groups. Tianshui's fighters looked miserable, and his own team wasn't much better. Ning Rongrong's bright eyes were red and puffy. Duguyan's trademark purple lipstick had been smeared by tears. Juju King dabbed at her sore eyes with a handkerchief. Yuer, you all come over here. I'll heal you," Xiao Ze offered. "Coming," Shui Yuer said, leading her teammates forward. "Lingling, heal them," Xiao Ze asked. Yi Lingling had already healed herself quietly and was the least affected. As her spirit power flowed, the redness and swelling around everyone's eyes visibly subsided. "Xiao Ze, you're too much. I can hardly see," Ning Rongrong said, pouncing on him, grabbing his collar and shaking him. Juju King didn't speak, but her eyes made her displeasure clear. Shuiwei linked arms with Xiao Ze and pouted. Brother Xiao Ze, you owe us. You put us through hell. All right, I'll compensate you. What do you want? Xiao Ze asked. Cook for us, Brother Xiao Ze. Your cooking is so good, it'd be a shame not to have it, Shuiwei replied immediately. Ning Rongrong and the others eagerly nodded. Xiao Ze didn't cook often, but when he did, his food was excellent. They loved it and wanted more, but he was always busy. This time, he couldn't refuse. Okay, I'll make a grand feast, he promised. Chapter 218, Xiao Ze, who cooks big meals. He spent the entire afternoon in the kitchen. When Ning Rongrong and the others came into the dining room, they all stopped, eyes wide. A 10-meter-long table was piled with dishes, many Ning Rongrong and the others had never seen before. In the center lay a whole roasted lamb, its skin a golden, glossy crisp that shimmered with oil and smelled of spices. Around it were pastries shaped into flowers and little animals, meticulously formed. Xiao Ze had made an array of drinks as well. You made all of this by yourself? Ning Rongrong asked, mouth slightly open, disbelief written across her face. Of course, Xiao Ze replied. Even with his spirit power and strong constitution, it had been exhausting. He had spent 4 or 5 solid hours cooking. Fortunately, he could use his spirit power to keep the food as fresh as the moment it was finished. Otherwise, the earlier dishes would have spoiled. Ning Rongrong felt a little guilty and hugged him. He nearly lost himself at the warmth and faint scent, but she was the one who pulled away. A small smile creased the corner of her mouth. She already knew how she might reward him in the future. Her slight, cute frame only added to the charm. Shui Binger, uncharacteristically overtaken, stared with wide ice-blue eyes. She had been learning to cook with Meng Yuran, was intelligent but a little clumsy with her hands, and this sight made her doubt she could ever match it. She fixed her gaze on a steaming amber soup she had never smelled before. Try it. This is Buddha Jumps Over the Wall, simmered with over a dozen precious ingredients like sea cucumber, abalone, and fish maw, Xiao Ze said. This is incredible, Shui Binger whispered, then quickly took out her small notebook to jot down notes. Xiao Ze chuckled at her eagerness. Juqing had already bitten into a golden pastry. The crisp crust cracked with a satisfying sound, and a stream of custard flowed out, making her eyes narrow in pleasure. This is an egg yolk pastry, Xiao Ze warned. Very tasty, but a little rich and sweet. Eat sparingly, or you won't enjoy everything else. Du Guyan, meanwhile, was impatiently digging into a plate of spicy, aromatic boiled fish slices, eyes watering from the chili, but refusing to stop. Hiss, it's delicious, so satisfying, just a touch spicy, she said, sticking out her tongue at the burn but reaching for more. I didn't make it too spicy, Xiao Ze said. He knew none of the girls handled heat well, so the dishes were only mildly spiced to bring out the flavors. Everyone's attention was caught by a squirrel-shaped mandarin fish, fried golden, crunchy, then glazed in a bright red sauce, perfect in every way. A 3-tiered cake decorated with delicate sugar flowers looked almost too beautiful to eat. The girls sat together, sampling and laughing, and seeing their happy faces made Xiao Ze feel his afternoon of work had been worth it. Ning Rongrong scooped a spoonful of crystal-clear mango pomelo sago and tasted it. The sweet mango and coconut milk melted on her tongue. Her eyes widened, and she cupped her cheeks with both hands. The texture is amazing, the flavor's perfect. I've never had anything like this. The sago pearls bounced between her teeth, and the slight bitterness of the pomelo segments balanced the sweetness. Delicacies like these were rare on the Douluo Continent. Even alcohol was usually mediocre. If only Xiao Ze knew how to brew good spirits, he'd make a fortune. Around the table came more exclamations. Wow, this Louvre cake is amazing, soft and sweet. This tiramisu is great. Despite its dark look, the cream is perfect. The strawberry milkshake is so creamy. The praises rose and fell with the sunset painting the sky orange-red. After everyone had eaten their fill, they lounged on the balcony chairs. Ning Rongrong rubbed her slightly rounded belly, eyes half closed. Ah, I can't move. I ate too much. I think I'll gain several pounds tomorrow. Darn you, Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze's mouth twitched. I didn't force you to eat that much. It was the first time he'd seen Ning Rongrong eat so much. She'd still made room for desserts after all those dishes. She seemed to have 2 stomachs. A comfortable silence settled. After a moment, Binger spoke softly. Xiao Ze, what do you plan to do after the Soul Master competition ends? Everyone looked up. Become a god, Xiao Ze said casually. Become a god? Binger and the others all reacted, especially Huo Wu, who sat up straight. You're not surprised? Huo Wu asked. We already figured it out, Ning Rongrong said, shaking her head. With Xiao Ze's abilities, he'll definitely become a god someday. He might even help us. Confident, aren't you? Huo Wu looked puzzled. Weren't those special plants you ate effective? Very effective, Huo Wu agreed, nodding. Her cultivation speed had doubled. She felt she could raise her spirit power by 4 or 5 levels a year now, far faster than before. But becoming a god seems so abstract, Shu Yuer said. It's not abstract, Xiao Ze replied. There's a place overseas called Sea God Island. There, a sea god's inheritance can be found. Yuer, Binger, if you two work hard, you might become sea gods. A sea god is a first-rank god. Shu Binger and Shu Yuer both stared, eyes wide. Is that true? Shu Yuer asked, swallowing. Of course, Xiao Ze said, but added seriously, I don't think Binger would be very suitable. Your talent might not be enough. Binger smiled faintly. It would be wonderful if I could make it, but if not, that's okay. What about me? Huo Wu asked. She wanted to become a god too. I don't know, Xiao Ze admitted. Places of inheritance aren't limited to Douluo Star or Sea God Island. You can search for them. Some hidden places might hold them. For example, the Northern Ice Field. Shui Binger nodded. The Northern Ice Field is mysterious. There could really be something there. They say even a titled Douluo can't reach its innermost parts. Chapter 219, the last round of the exchange competition. Xiao Ze thought Shuidi might know, but why couldn't Shuidi inherit it herself? Did the divinity not want to pass it to her? It was hard to say. After all, the divinity in the Northern Ice Field was only a first-rank divinity at best. It would be impossible to defeat an Asura god. That was a matter for later. I didn't expect you all to be thinking that far ahead. It seems you haven't taken the Soul Master competition seriously, Huo Wu said. Don't be ridiculous. The reward for this Soul Master competition must be very good, Xiao Ze replied. Everyone looked puzzled. Xiao Ze explained. Our biggest opponents are the Golden Generation from Wuhun Academy. In a year, they'll all be at Spirit King level. They're the strongest batch Wuhun has had in decades. One of them is even Bibi Dong's student. If Bibi Dong is involved, the champion's prize could be something huge. What could it be? Someone asked. A 10,000-year spirit bone, maybe. Hearing that, everyone drew a sharp breath. A 10,000-year spirit bone, those were extremely rare. Spirit Hall was indeed rich. Of course, that's just my guess. Not certain, Xiao Ze added. Huo Wu, what do you think about our Blazing Academy joining Heaven Do Royal Academy if we lose? Someone asked. Xiao Ze was taken aback. Our Blazing Academy is average at best. We might make the finals, but we certainly won't win. I might as well come help you, stand in for that so-called big turtle. Shimo stood there speechless, bewildered. After a moment, he muttered, Well, actually, that's not a bad idea. Is that even possible? Another asked. It's possible, as long as we register Huo Wu's name before the finals and Spirit Hall recognizes it, Xiao Ze said. This was the same trick Shenfeng Academy and Blazing Academy used in the original arrangement. We can try. All right, it's decided, Ning Rongrong said. Let's do it. The next morning, everyone arrived at the Heaven Do Arena again. This was the final day of competition and the last day of the exchange. The 5 elemental academies believed Heaven Do Royal Academy was too dominant and had no intention of continuing another round of matches. They might as well rest. The opening match on the final day was Heaven Do Royal Academy versus Thunder Academy. Xiao Ze glanced at Tang San, Dai Mubai, and the others, a smile on his face. On this last day, he intended to show them something exciting. He had the protection of Dugu Bo and the god of agriculture now, so he wasn't afraid of most outside interference, except, of course, Spirit Hall. Spirit Hall had too many titled Douluo, and the powers of his god of agriculture and Icefire Dragon King couldn't be used indefinitely. He might be able to take out 5 or 6 titled Douluo, but certainly not all of Spirit Hall. Fortunately, after this they'd be going to Spirit City, where Spirit Hall's people might not be able to act so freely. We meet again, Xiao Ze said with a smile. Tang San and the others stared back, saying nothing. The pressure on them today was immense. Even if they couldn't win, they had to at least beat one person from Heaven Du Royal Academy. The other academies hadn't even managed a single victory. That would be embarrassing. They had to move from 0 to 1. They won't even speak to me. How awkward, Xiao Ze grumbled lightly. Come on, Xiao Ze, did you see how grim they look? Ning Rongrong said with a laugh. Okay, leave it to me. I'll finish them all at once, Xiao Ze said confidently. Ning Rongrong and the others nodded. They all knew Xiao Ze had many trump cards. Any one of them could overwhelm the other side. Match start. Xiao Ze's eyes narrowed. Let's end this quickly. As he spoke, 3 dazzling rays of light exploded in front of him. Douluo, Chikai, and Qingluv, 3 summoned beasts appeared. Tangsan kept his face calm, but his heart pounded. Why did Xiao Ze only summon 3 summoned beasts? Did these 3 have some special ability? The thought made his pulse race. Unleash 3 Do-3 talents. Xiao Ze's command echoed through the arena. Everyone froze. What kind of skill was 3 Do-3 talents? Then it happened. Douluo, Chikai, and Qingluv flashed, instantly taking positions near Xiao Ze and forming a 3 talents formation. A strange, potent sensation emerged. The energy within their bodies converged and formed visible torrents that circulated through the formation, emitting a very threatening aura. Not good! This is a spirit fusion skill. Yu Tianheng cursed. 3 summoned beasts, 3-way fusion? That shouldn't even be possible. The others were equally stunned. How could summoned beasts in Xiao Ze's control have combination abilities? Outside, Huo Wushuang, Shui Yao, and the rest watched, stunned, and their expressions grew serious. Amazing. It actually has such an ability. So powerful. It's exaggerated. I feel threatened just from seeing that energy fluctuation, Meng Shenji said in shock. Looks like Xiao Ze still has plenty of trump cards. Don't talk nonsense. How would you know? Someone else snapped. Act, now, Yu Tianheng roared. He felt that if they didn't act immediately, they would lose the chance. Before Thunder Academy could move, an ancient and majestic phantom slowly materialized in front of Xiao Ze. It wore simple, farmer-like clothes. Its face was indistinct, but it radiated awe-inspiring heavenly might. It was the phantom of the god of agriculture. The moment it appeared, an invisible domain spread outward and enveloped the arena. Yu Tianheng, Yu Tianxin, Tangsan, Dai Mubai, and the others from Thunder Academy all changed color. They could feel their spirit power stuttering as it circulated. It seemed that using a spirit ability would now consume 3 times the usual spirit power, and that every use would trigger a backlash equal to 10% of their maximum spirit power. Damn! How can this be? Such a powerful domain effect, one blurted. If this domain stays active, we'll be killing ourselves using abilities, another warned. This is bad. Who knew Xiao Ze's summoned beasts could combine with a domain? Damn it! Captain, what should we do? Yu Tianxin asked urgently. Don't act rashly, Yu Tianheng answered through clenched teeth. Our spirit power consumption is too high. Observe first. Chapter 220. Kill Thunder Academy instantly. Tang San's brow knotted tightly. His purple demon eye was at full power, but the mysteries of this domain eluded him completely. All he could sense was a crushing suppression, heavy as a mountain. Daimubai clenched his fists, feeling spirit power surge within him, disbelief written across his face. Xiao's strength far exceeded their expectations. It seemed he hadn't shown his full capabilities when they fought before. For a moment, they felt as if they'd been plunged into an ice cave, cold sweat beating down their backs. The changes on the arena caused an uproar among the spectators outside. They could see the phantom of the farmer emperor and the tremors of the domain, but they couldn't feel its oppressive effects directly, so their shock was less than that of the Thunder Academy members inside the arena. Still, everyone was stunned. After all, this domain had not been unleashed by a spirit master, but by 3 summoned beasts. No one had ever imagined summoned beasts could use a domain. This defied belief. I wonder if Xiao Ze's other summoned beasts have domains too, someone murmured. Who knows? He's a mystery. We rarely get to see him in action, another replied. Maybe he'll reveal even more in the finals, a third voice said. I'm looking forward to it. Suddenly, the central formation of the 3 talents formation erupted in a blinding red light. From the heart of the formation rose 12 gigantic crimson swords wreathed in roaring flames. Their blades burned with infernal fire, a terrifying aura radiating from them that made everyone in the arena hold their breath. Ning Rongrong and the others were only mildly surprised. This was the first time they'd seen such a fusion skill. But since it wasn't aimed at them, the pressure wasn't overwhelming. For the Thunder Academy, however, it was a different matter. The 12 flaming greatswords condensed into streaks of fiery light and shot straight for the spot where the 7 Thunder Academy members stood. Not good. Watch out. Yu Tianheng's pupils tightened. He hadn't expected this fusion to be an offensive attack, not merely a domain. Thunder Dragon Claw, Thunderous Might, Binding, White Tiger Lightwave. For a moment, every member of Thunder Academy unleashed their spirit abilities. The crimson swords tore through the air with a continuous, shrill whistle. One by one, the swords severed the Thunder Academy members' spirit attacks. Each of Xiao Ze's summoned beasts shared his spirit power. Their strength rivaled that of a spirit emperor. Even a spirit saint in true spirit form might not be able to withstand this fusion skill, let alone these spirit elders and spirit ancestors. Brilliant slashes of sword light struck in rapid succession. Screams rose and fell as the 7 were hurled through the air, bones rending wounds gaping along their bodies, flames still licking the edges of the injuries. With a series of heavy crashes, the 7 were flung out of the arena, their agonized cries ringing out. Outside the ring, students and instructors stood stunned. The entire spirit fighting arena fell into a dead hush, so complete a pin dropping could be heard. After a long moment, everyone seemed to wake from a dream and erupted into a cacophony of shocked discussion. Holy crap! Is that Xiao Ze's true strength? One fusion skill beat all 7 of them. It's terrifying. One person summons 3 beasts, and the 3 can form a fusion. Does that mean Xiao Ze himself can use a fusion skill? That's unbelievable. What can you do? His spirit is just that powerful. If I had that strength, I'd give up eating beef, someone joked weakly. Huo Wushuang swallowed, dread in his eyes. Did you feel it? I felt it. It's a threat. Those giant swords pose a serious danger, Feng Rui said, narrowing his eyes. I thought I was mistaken, but this is unreal. Xiao Ze is only at spirit ancestor level, and we're Douluos. Even a spirit fusion shouldn't threaten us like that, right? Huo Wushuang couldn't comprehend it. Xiao Ze is too strong. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer's fusion isn't this powerful, Shui Yiyao added. Binger and Yuer's fusion could at most rival a spirit king. It was far below what Xiao Ze just demonstrated. Did you say that out loud? Hu Yanzhen asked, his face filled with astonishment. He knew he had to report this to Supreme Pontiff His Eminence. If such a genius wasn't recruited into Spirit Hall, the Supreme Pontiff would surely act to bring him in. Otherwise, Xiao Ze could become a formidable enemy to Spirit Hall. Hu Yanzhen even imagined the heights Xiao Ze might reach, Super Douluo, maybe even Limit Douluo. He believed Xiao Ze had limit potential. If he joined Spirit Hall, he could one day be the next Supreme Pontiff. Of course, Hu Yanzhen was merely an intermediary. This is absurd, Bai Baoshan said, patting his ample belly. How can there be a spirit master like this? Who knows? He owes his rise to his own effort, Jilin replied. A child from a village, climbing step by step to the top. Wouldn't you like to see more? At that, everyone nodded in agreement. In a world where bloodlines mattered, a village commoner reaching the pinnacle of power was the stuff of legend. Xiao Ze and his comrades had been lucky, but they had worked hard as well. Meng Shenji admitted he had never seen Xiao Ze slack off. Despite being surrounded by so many beautiful women, the boy trained relentlessly every day. Meng Shenji felt some admiration. Are you all right? Yu Luomian descended, his expression grim. He knew they were outclassed by Heaven Do Royal Academy. The gap was simply too wide. Xiao Ze's power before had already been formidable. Rumors said the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan had a grudge against him. Troublesome, but not Yu Luomian's immediate concern. Now that Xiao Ze might be recruitable by Spirit Hall, getting him to join would be a major achievement. Which organization wouldn't want a genius like him? Only a fool like his brother would dare offend such a talent. Heaven was unfair. Such a fool's potential far outstripped his own. Yu Luomian wondered when he would reach the level of a titled Douluo. Second grandfather, we don't stand a chance, Yu Tianheng said, forcing a bitter smile as he clutched his chest. The gap is too big.